Chapter 140. There were only 2 chapters today. The main reason was that it was a bit late today. Last night, he found a novel quite interesting, so he read it until 4 o'clock in the morning. When he woke up today, it was already afternoon. He didn't start writing until he saw the latest chapter. The author liked to read novels, but he had a bad habit. After he found a good novel, he had to finish it. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to stop thinking about it. Who had the same habit as the author? Yi Tianzong, who had made up his mind, said to Yi Haoran and Yi Haoyun, "Father, uncle, since those forces don't know what's good for them and dare to scheme against our Hao Ranjin sect, then we don't have to be polite." The formation of the demon-killing alliance was originally for the benefit of the entire human race. Since they don't cherish it, then they can't blame us for not giving them a chance. The Lingyun Hall, the Kunlun sect, and the 10 Holy Lands on our side must be very dissatisfied with the current state of the demon-killing alliance. These years, they have been targeted and pushed aside by other forces. I guess they have long wanted to take action. Since that's the case, let's join hands to clean up the demon-killing alliance. We'll completely wipe out those forces who are jumping around. The demon-killing alliance will only be able to play its greatest role if we have the right to speak. Do those Holy Lands really think that we can't do anything to them? Yi Haoran and Yi Haoyun nodded. Yi Haoran said, "Since that's the case, then let's do it this way. I'll immediately send people to contact the Lingyun Hall Master, the Kunlun Sect Master, and the Holy Lords of the 10 Holy Lands. Although we have lost many disciples in the war with the demon race, those short-sighted Holy Lands don't know how powerful we are now. It's time to let the Central Plains know the majesty of our Hao Ranjin sect." In just 3 days, the invited Lingyun Hall Master, the Kunlun Sect Master, and the Sacred Masters of the 10 Sacred Lands arrived at the Hao Ranjin sect and met with Yi Haoran and the higher-ups of the Hao Ranjin sect. Within the Haoran Hall, Yi Haoran looked at the Lingyun Hall Master and the others. He said sternly, "I've invited Hall Master Ling, Sect Master Kuren, and the various Sacred Masters here because I have an important matter to discuss with you. Before that, I would like to ask all of you what you think of the current demon-slaying alliance." After Yi Haoran asked his question, he saw the faces of the Lingyun Hall Master, the Kunlun Sect Master, and the Sacred Masters of the 10 Sacred Lands turn gloomy. It was obvious that they were not in a good mood. Seeing this, Yi Haoran did not wait for them to answer. He continued, "From your faces, I can tell that the current demon-slaying alliance has deviated from our original intention when we first established it. I'm not sure about your forces. Let's take our Hao Ranjin sect as an example. In recent years, the other Sacred Lands and super forces have been using all sorts of high-sounding reasons to request our Hao Ranjin sect to send more forces to participate in the battle against the Abyss Demon Clan. During the battle, they even used the excuse that our righteous sect's disciples were restraining the devil race as a reason to let our righteous sect's disciples attract the devil race's attention. They took advantage of the situation behind the scenes and didn't help our righteous sect's disciples when they were in danger. Even worse, some forces even dared to frame our righteous sect's disciples. In recent years, our Hao Ranjin sect's disciples have suffered more and more casualties. Especially in the last battle with the Demon Clan, our disciples' casualties have increased by more than 20%. This is absolutely intolerable. I'm sure all of you have been schemed against by those Sacred Lands, right?" The Lingyun Hall Master snorted coldly and said with a cold expression, "Those bastards deserve to die. The casualties of our Lingyun Hall's disciples have increased year by year. Many outstanding disciples have also lost their lives inexplicably in the battle. I can't wait to tear those despicable and shameless people into pieces." After the Lingyun Hall Master finished speaking, the Master of the Kunlun sect and the Sacred Lords of the 10 Sacred Lands also spoke one after another. The casualties of their disciples had increased over the years. Many elite disciples had died inexplicably. After they finished speaking, Yi Haoran said, "It's not hard to see that we are being targeted by those sacred lands and super forces. We were the ones who led the formation of the demon-slaying alliance. They can't bear to see us have the right to speak and influence in the demon-slaying alliance. They want to weaken our strength and finally drive us out of the demon-slaying alliance." The Lingyun Hall Master said, "Humph, they want to drive us out of the demon-slaying alliance and steal our achievements. They are really delusional and don't know what death is." The Master of the Kunlun sect said, "Hall Master Ling is right. Do those evil forces really think they can do anything to us? If it weren't for the big picture and not wanting to affect the situation of the battle against the demon-slaying alliance, we would have dealt with them long ago." Yi Haoran said decisively, "My Hao Ranjin sect is on the same side as all of you. I won't beat around the bush. I invited all of you here today because I want to work together with all of you to clean up the demon-slaying alliance. We want to get rid of those evil forces. The demon-slaying alliance was built by us with painstaking efforts and energy. We can't tolerate other people pointing fingers at us. If they dare to scheme against us, we will make them pay with their blood." The Master of the Kunlun sect said, "Okay, I agree with Master Ye's suggestion. Those despicable villains really need to be cleaned up. It's best for the power of the demon-slaying alliance to be in our hands. Those arrogant sacred lands can't do anything right. They will only drag us down. With our current strength, it's enough to clean up those bastards." When the Master of the Kunlun sect said this, the Lingyun Hall Master and the Sacred Lords of the 10 Sacred Lands couldn't help but nod in relief. Although they and the Hao Ranjin sect sent a large number of disciples to the demon-slaying alliance every year and lost many disciples in the battle against the demon-slaying alliance, the strength they had accumulated secretly was far beyond the understanding of the other forces. Not to mention the Tai Xian sect, True Yen sect, Sky Sword sect, and the other sacred lands, the Lingyun Hall and the Kunlun sect's strength had increased rapidly after they formed an alliance with the Hao Ranjin sect. With the elixirs, weapons, defensive armors, and other cultivation resources purchased from the Hao Ranjin sect, the Lingyun Hall and the Kunlun sect recruited disciples without restraint. Moreover, because of the powerful elixirs purchased from the Hao Ranjin sect, the martial arts realms of the people in the Lingyun Hall and the Kunlun sect had improved very quickly. Powerful forces at the level of Wu Zun and Wu Xing had appeared in batches, but most of them were intentionally hidden by the Lingyun Hall and the Kunlun sect. Even so, the strength they displayed was far beyond that of any other sacred lands. In the same way, there were the Tai Xian Holy Land, True Yen Holy Land, Sky Snow Holy Land, Ethereal Holy Land, Sky Sword Holy Land, Xianluo Holy Land, Drifting Cloud Holy Land, Everlasting Holy Land, Gulan Holy Land, and Xiaoyao Holy Land. These 10 sacred lands were on the same side as the Hao Ranjin sect, the Lingyun Hall, and the Kunlun sect. Because of the elixirs purchased from the Hao Ranjin sect and exchanged for some cultivation methods, martial arts techniques, and secret techniques, in the past 30 years, the experts at the level of Wu Zun and Wu Xing had appeared in batches. Now, in terms of strength, the 10 sacred lands, which were originally in the middle of the sacred lands, had all been promoted to the upper level, second only to the few super sacred lands. As long as they were given time, they were confident that they would stand at the top of the sacred lands. The strength of the Hao Ranjin sect had improved even more. Guarding the demon race in the Haoran mountain range, it was too easy for the Hao Ranjin sect to recruit disciples and develop their strength. In the vast Haoran mountain range area occupied by the Hao Ranjin sect, there were hundreds of cities built in the mountain range. Now, there were hundreds of millions of people living in the cities in the mountain range. Every year, the Hao Ranjin sect would recruit a large number of disciples in the cities in the mountain range, and it would not be discovered by other forces in the outside world. Now, the total number of disciples in the Hao Ranjin sect had exceeded 8 million. The experts at the level of Wu Zun and Wu Xing in the sect were also promoted in batches in the martial arts lectures given by Yi Tianzong every 6 months. The number of experts at the level of Wu Xing was close to 2,000. It could be said that the combined strength of the Hao Ranjin sect, Lingyun Hall, Kunlun sect, and the 10 great sacred lands was definitely enough to easily destroy 20 sacred lands. It was no wonder that everyone was confident when Yi Haoran proposed to wipe out the demon-killing alliance. In that case, the Heavenly Spirit Sacred Ground, the Yuan Venerate Sacred Ground, the Netherworld Sacred Ground, the Heartless Sacred Ground, the 4 Super Sacred Lands, as well as the Dark Demon Sacred Ground, the Tao Yi Sacred Ground, and the Flying Immortal Sacred Ground. We will deal with them first. As for the remaining super forces, we will deal with them after we wipe out these sacred lands. For now, we will collect relevant information about these sacred lands and figure out the distribution of their forces. In order to not arouse their vigilance, we will let them be complacent for a while. When the next war with the demon race comes, we will take the opportunity to wipe them out completely, Yi Haoran said. After hearing Yi Haoran's suggestion, the Lingyun Hall Master, the Kunlun Sect Master, and the Sacred Masters of the 10 Great Sacred Lands all agreed. They could afford to wait for a while. When the time came, they would definitely vent their hatred. Chapter 141. A year passed in the blink of an eye. During this time, the Hao Ranjin Sect, Lingyun Hall, Kunlun Sect, and the 10 Great Sacred Lands had figured out the power distribution of the 13 Sacred Lands, including Tianling, Yellow Springs, and Flying Celestial. They had also figured out the majority of their subordinate forces and were ready to cleanse these forces. The demon-killing alliance had once again engaged in a great battle with the demon race of the Abyss. However, the outcome of this battle was intentionally arranged by the Hao Ranjin Sect, Lingyun Hall, Kunlun Sect, and the 10 Great Sacred Lands. Although the demon-killing alliance had achieved a great victory, the disciples of the 13 Sacred Lands, including Tianling, Yuan Venerate, Yellow Springs, and Heartless, suffered heavy losses. It turned out that the disciples of the Hao Ranjin Sect, Lingyun Hall, Kunlun Sect, and the 10 Great Sacred Lands had all brought dozens of weakened explosive flame pearls with them. When the demon race of the Abyss attacked, the disciples of the Hao Ranjin Sect, Lingyun Hall, and the other sacred lands hid among the people of the 13 sacred lands, including Tianling, Heartless, and the other sacred lands, and threw the weakened explosive flame pearls at the right time. Regardless of whether they were from the human race or the demon race, all living beings within the range of the explosion were blasted to smithereens by the weakened explosive flame pearls. This scene appeared everywhere on the battlefield. As long as the disciples of the Hao Ranjin Sect, Kunlun Sect, Lingyun Hall, and the 10 Great Sacred Lands found the people of the 13 Sacred Lands entangled with the demon race, they threw the weakened explosive flame pearls without hesitation. After this battle, the disciples of the Hao Ranjin Sect, Lingyun Hall, and the other sacred lands had their revenge. The demon race had suffered heavy losses from the explosions, and the people of the Tianling, Yellow Springs, and other sacred lands had also been blasted to death. At this moment, in the demon-killing alliance headquarters, the Heavenly Spirit Sacred Ground, the Yuan Venerate Sacred Ground, the Yellow Springs Sacred Ground, and the Heartless Sacred Ground led the group of 13 Sacred Lords. They had ugly expressions on their faces as they roared at Yi Haoran, the Lingyun Hall Master, the Kunlun Sect Master, and the other Sacred Lords of the 10 Sacred Lands. Hao Ranjin Sect, Lingyun Hall, Kunlun Sect, and the other Sacred Lands. What is the meaning of this? Are you planning to betray the human race and rebel? Why are you attacking our disciples? You are simply demons and executioners. You have committed heinous crimes. Do you still care about the interests of the human race? Have you colluded with the demon race long ago to destroy the human race? There were a total of 36 policymaking elders in the Demon-Killing Alliance headquarters, including the demon race. The Heavenly Spirit Sacred Ground, Ethereal Sacred Ground, and the other Sacred Lords were not policymaking elders. They had been called to the main hall by the policy-making elders because of this battle. At this moment, the remaining 20 representatives of the human race and the demon race were watching from the sidelines. They watched as the Heavenly Spirit Sacred Ground, the Venerate Sacred Ground, the Yellow Springs Sacred Ground, the Heartless Sacred Ground, and the other sacred lords of the 13 sacred lands roared wantonly at Yi Haoran, the Lingyun Hall Master, the Kunlun Sect Master, and the other sacred lords. To be honest, both the demon race and the human race were surprised and dissatisfied by the ruthless style of the Hao Ranjun sect, the Lingyun Hall, the Kunlun sect, and the other sacred grounds. However, they did not think that they were as heinous as the Heavenly Spirit Sacred Ground, the Yellow Springs Sacred Ground, and the other sacred grounds' sacred ground. In fact, everyone knew the real reason. Over the years, the Heavenly Spirit Sacred Ground, the Venerate Sacred Ground, the Yellow Springs Sacred Ground, the Heartless Sacred Ground, and the other sacred grounds had schemed against the people of the Hao Ranjun sect, the Lingyun Hall, the Kunlun sect, the Heavenly Spirit Sacred Ground, the Ethereal Sacred Ground, and the other sacred grounds. They often used the excuse of righteousness of the human race as an excuse to let the people of the Hao Ranjun sect, the Lingyun Hall, and the other sacred grounds to attract the attention of the demon race during the battle. They took advantage of the situation and did nothing to save them. However, no one had expected that the people of the Hao Ranjun sect, the Lingyun Hall, and the Kunlun sect would retaliate so ruthlessly this time. They no longer cared about the so-called righteousness of the human race and directly attacked the human race and the demon race indiscriminately. They got rid of 70% to 80% of the forces of the Heavenly Spirit Sacred Ground, the Yellow Springs Sacred Ground, and the other sacred grounds. They even ensured victory in the battle against the demon race. In the end, the Heavenly Spirit Sacred Ground, the Venerate Sacred Ground, the Yellow Springs Sacred Ground, the Heartless Sacred Ground, and the other sacred grounds were a little arrogant. They thought that by relying on the excuse of righteousness of the human race and taking the overall situation into consideration, the Hao Ranjun sect, the Lingyun Hall, and the other sacred grounds would not dare to do anything to them. They were jealous of the power that the Hao Ranjun sect, the Lingyun Hall, and the Kunlun sect had in the demon-killing alliance and wanted to drive the factions established by these 3 sacred grounds out of the demon-killing alliance. Yi Haoran, the master of the Lingyun Hall, the master of the Kunlun sect, and the other sacred grounds heard the increasingly excessive words of the sacred masters of the 13 sacred grounds. They even directly called them traitors of the human race and colluded with the demon race to harm the human race's martialists. The veins on the foreheads of Yi Haoran, the master of the Lingyun Hall, the master of the Kunlun sect, and the 10 great sacred masters were boiling with anger. The master of the Kunlun sect roared, "Scoundrels, who do you think you are? How dare you be so presumptuous and slander the Kunlun sect? Do you want to die?" The sacred master of the Yellow Springs Sacred Ground sneered when he heard this. "Ha, how impressive! The Kunlun sect is the inheritance of the Divine King, yet you don't think about fighting against the demon race with all your might. Instead, you harm your fellow human race members. This is a heinous crime, and you don't care about the interests of the human race. You are so tyrannical and cruel that you are no different from the demon race. What right do you have to question us? You don't deserve to stay in the demon-killing alliance." Yi Haoran reached out to stop the master of the Kunlun sect, who was about to explode again. He looked at Venerate, Heartless, and the other sacred masters of the 13 sacred grounds and sneered. "Humph, you don't need to use the righteous cause of the human race as an excuse. You know very well why we are doing this. All these years, you have schemed against the disciples of our forces. You did nothing to save them and frame them. We are just giving you a taste of your own medicine. The demon-killing alliance was originally formed by the Hao Ranjun sect, the Lingyun Hall, the Kunlun sect, the Great Mystery sect, the Sky Sword Sacred Ground, the Gulan Sacred Ground, and the other sacred grounds in order to gather the strength of the human race to resist the demon race. Now, you arrogant dogs actually want to use the righteous cause of the human race to scheme against us, weaken our strength, and steal our efforts. You really don't know what you are talking about. Do you really think that we can't do anything to you? You have underestimated our determination. Yi Haoran had said what the sacred masters of the 13 sacred grounds, including the sacred masters of the heavenly spirit sacred ground, Yuan venerate, and the other 20 representatives of the human race and the demon race had a change of expression. The sacred master of the heavenly spirit sacred ground sensed that Yi Haoran's words were strange and had a bad feeling. He asked Yi Haoran with a gloomy expression, "What do you mean? What are you trying to do?" The Lingyun Hall master sneered and said, "What do I mean? The current state of the demon-killing alliance has deviated from our original intention of forming it. This is something that we will never allow. Since you bastards don't know what's good for you and are arrogant enough to scheme against us, we will let you know the price of offending us. There is no need for ignorant people to exist." When the Lingyun Hall master said this, the demon-killing alliance's main hall fell silent. Then, Sacred Master Heartless said mockingly, "Humph! Who are you trying to scare? This sacred lord thinks that your over-cloud palace is too arrogant and delusional. Do you still think that this is the mythological era where you, the divine king, can do whatever you want? It seems that you have indeed colluded with the demon race and are delusional enough to subvert the central planes. I suggest that the demon-killing alliance suppress the Lingyun Hall, the Hao Ranjin sect, the Kunlun sect, the Great Mystery sect, the Sky Sword Sacred Grounds, and other sacred grounds to thoroughly investigate your factions." As soon as Sacred Master Heartless finished speaking, the Lingyun Hall master sneered and said, "Ha? You don't have a chance anymore. Do you think that I would be so stupid to remind you if you weren't fully prepared? I hope that your factions can hold on for a little longer." After the Lingyun Hall master finished speaking, Yi Haoran and the Kunlun sect master also snorted coldly. Then, without any warning, the three of them, along with the Great Mystery sect, the Sky Sword Sacred Ground, and the other sacred lords of the 10 sacred grounds, launched an attack on the 13 sacred lords of Tianling, Heartless, and Yellow Springs. The main hall of the Demon-Killing Alliance's main hall was instantly destroyed by the attacks of Yi Haoran and the others. Yi Haoran and the others' sudden attack caught everyone off guard. Among Yi Haoran and the Lingyun Hall master, Yi Haoran was the strongest. He was already at the peak of the third heaven of Wusheng. He knew that this sudden attack on the 13 sacred lords of Tianling, Yuan Venerate, and the other sacred lords of the human race's sacred grounds and the representatives of the demon race would definitely try to stop them. Since Yi Tianzong wasn't around at the moment, Yi Haoran attacked with all his might. Chapter 142. 2 updates today and 3 updates tomorrow. Please support me, everyone. In order to achieve the greatest results, Yi Haoran chose the Heavenly Spirit Sacred Master, Yuan Venerate Sacred Master, and Heartless Sacred Master, who were sitting next to him, as his targets. Because he had cultivated the boundless mysterious scripture, Yi Haoran's primordial spirit power was at least twice as strong as a martialist of the same level. When he had attacked, Yi Haoran had conjured his primordial spirit power and combined it with a primordial spirit attack mystic technique to form 3 primordial spirit sword. Then, he had used the 3 primordial spirit swords to attack Tianling, Yuan Venerate, and Heartless, who had been caught off guard. The Heavenly Spirit Sacred Master, Yuan Venerate Sacred Master, and Heartless Sacred Master's primordial spirit were in great pain after being attacked by the Primordial Spirit Sacred Master's primordial spirit attack. They felt as if their brains were about to explode as they hugged their heads and screamed in pain. At that moment, Yi Haoran's spirit-crushing finger was ready and he launched a fatal attack at the 3 of them. The 3 unstoppable spirit-shattering fingers were like 3 beams of divine light that instantly penetrated the heads and primordial spirits of the Heavenly Spirit Sacred Master, the Yuan Venerate Sacred Master, and the Heartless Sacred Master. Their screams came to an abrupt end. In the blink of an eye, The Heavenly Spirit Sacred Master and the other two were killed by Yi Haoran. After the Heavenly Spirit Sacred Master and the other two were killed by Yi Haoran, the other 5 human race Sacred Masters and 15 demon race representatives also reacted. They were shocked when they saw that the Heavenly Spirit Sacred Master, Yuan Venerate Sacred Master, and Heartless Sacred Master had been killed in an instant. As decision-making elders of the Demon-Killing Alliance, the weakest among them was Wu Xing's second celestial level. For example, the Lingyun Hall Master and the Kunlun Sect Master did not come from the secret realm. Instead, they cultivated step by step in today's world. Therefore, they were now Wu Xing's second sky realm. However, because of their powerful inheritance, their strength was not weaker than the average Wu Xing's third sky realm. However, the rest of the people and demonic beasts were basically Wu Xing's third heavenly layer. If Yi Haoran could kill the Heavenly Spirit Sacred Master, Yuan Venerate Sacred Master, and Heartless Sacred Master so easily, then he could easily kill them too. How could the people of Hao Ranjin sect be so terrifying? They had never realized that Yi Haoran was so strong before. Although they were shocked by Yi Haoran's strength, the 20 human holy sovereigns and the fiend race's representatives all moved to stop Yi Haoran's group. When Yi Haoran saw this, he took out a jade talisman and crushed it in front of the 20 human holy sovereigns and fiend race's representatives who wanted to stop him. The moment the jade talisman was crushed, a vast and boundless power surged out and suppressed the 20 human holy sovereigns and demonic beasts. The 20 human holy sovereigns and demonic beasts' faces changed when they saw this vast and boundless power. They felt a sense of crisis in their hearts, and all of them used their strongest techniques to resist this power. After crushing the jade talisman, Yi Haoran took out a divine accumulation pill and consumed it. The divine accumulation pill was an elixir that Yi Tianzong had refined to quickly restore the power of one's primordial spirit. When Yi Haoran had attacked the Heavenly Spirit Sacred Master, the Yuan Venerate Sacred Master, and the Heartless Sacred Master, he had consumed more than half of his primordial spirit power. After consuming the divine accumulation pill, his primordial spirit power recovered rapidly. After consuming the divine accumulation pill, Yi Haoran did not waste any time. He immediately rushed towards the Yellow Spring, Flying Fairy, and other holy lords who were fighting with the Lingyun Hall Master and Kunlun Sect Master in the sky. Before he arrived, Yi Haoran chose 3 people and launched another primordial spirit attack. The Yellow Spring Sacred Master, Flying Fairy Sacred Master, and Yushuan Sacred Master, who were fighting with the Lingyun Hall Master and the others, were caught off guard. Their primordial spirits were severely injured and they screamed in pain. They held their heads with both hands and rolled in the sky. The Lingyun Hall Master, Kunlun Sect Master, and Taishan Sacred Master were delighted when they saw this. They seized the opportunity to kill the Yellow Spring Sacred Master, Flying Fairy Sacred Master, and Yushuan Sacred Master. After eliminating the Yellow Spring Sacred Master and the others, the Lingyun Hall Master, Kunlun Sect Master, and Taishan Sacred Master immediately joined the battle against the remaining 7 Holy Lord. Yi Haoran once again consumed 2 divine accumulation pills. Thanks to the powerful medicinal effects of the divine accumulation pills, Yi Haoran condensed 7 primordial spirit swords and attacked the remaining 7 holy lords. 7 miserable shrieks were heard almost at the same time. The Lingyun Hall Master, Kunlun Sect Master, Taishan Sect Master, Sky Sword Sacred Master, Carefree Sacred Master, and the other holy lords seized the opportunity to finish off the remaining 7 holy lord. In a short period of time, the Heavenly Spirit Sacred Master, Yellow Spring Sacred Master, Yuan Venerate Sacred Master, and Heartless Sacred Master were killed by Yi Haoran, the Lingyun Hall Master, Kunlun Sect Master, and the others. At the same time, the remaining 20 human race sacred masters and demon race representatives had just resisted the majestic power that surged out when Yi Haoran crushed the jade talisman. All of them were battered and exhausted, and most of the power in their bodies had been depleted. Upon seeing their vigilant expressions, Yi Haoran smiled faintly and said, "Everyone, don't be nervous. We won't attack you for no reason. Just now, the Heavenly Spirit Sacred Master, Yuan Venerate Sacred Master, Yellow Spring Sacred Master, Heartless Sacred Master, and the other Holy Lords of the 13 Holy Lands have been killed by us. As we said, the demon-killing alliance was formed by our Hao Ranjin sect, Lingyun Hall, Kunlun sect, Great Mystery Sacred Master, True Yen Sacred Master, Heavenly Snow Sacred Master, Ethereal Sacred Master, Sky Sword Sacred Master, Flowing Cloud Sacred Master, Limitless Sacred Master, Gulan Sacred Master, and Carefree Sacred Master in order to resist the demon race in the abyss. Therefore, we will not allow despicable factions like the Heavenly Spirit Sacred Master, Yuan Venerate Sacred Master, Yellow Spring Sacred Master, Heartless Sacred Master, and the other Holy Lands to secretly scheme against the demon race in the abyss. Once they appear, we will not let them off easily. I believe that all of you have joined the demon-killing alliance in order to continue your respective inheritances and avoid being destroyed by the demon race. Since this is the case, the various factions in the demon-killing alliance must not plot against each other. I believe that all of you do not want other factions to plot against you all the time when you are fighting against the demon race, right? When Yi Haoran said this, the expressions of the remaining 20 human race sacred masters and the representatives of the demon race froze. Indeed, no one wanted other factions to plot against them while they were fighting against the demon race. The Heavenly Spirit Sacred Master, Yuan Venerate Sacred Master, Yellow Spring Sacred Master, Heartless Sacred Master, and the other Holy Lands that had just been eliminated had even dared to plot against the Hao Ranjin sect, Lingyun Hall, Kunlun sect, and the other Holy Lands. Once they obtained the right to speak in the demon-killing alliance, they would definitely not show mercy to the remaining factions. As they pondered over Yi Haoran's words, the attitudes of the 20 human race sacred masters and the representatives of the demon race softened. The atmosphere between them and Yi Haoran was no longer tense. At this moment, a representative of the demon race said, "Can you guarantee that this will be the last time such a situation will occur?" The Kunlun sect master replied, "I can't give you a definite answer. Regardless of whether it is the human race or the demon race, we can't avoid greed and ambition. Back then, the reason why my Kunlun sect, Hao Ranjin sect, Lingyun Hall, and the other Holy Lands were in the same camp was because our style of doing things is very similar. Compared to the other factions, we are more upright and magnanimous. I believe that none of you can deny this point. However, we will not be pedantic and passively allow ourselves to be plotted against by despicable people. As long as examples like the Heavenly Spirit Sacred Grounds and the Heartless Sacred Grounds appear among our decision-making elders in the future, we will not be lenient. We will definitely clean up these dirty factions." After hearing the determination in the Kunlun sect master's words and seeing the resolute attitude of Yi Haoran, the Lingyun Hall master, and the other sacred masters, the 20 human race sacred masters and the representatives of the demon race fell silent. They hadn't expected such an answer. Although they were skeptical, they had to admit that if they had a choice, they would rather let the Hao Ranjin sect, Lingyun Hall, and the Kunlun sect lead the demon-killing alliance instead of the Heavenly Spirit Sacred Grounds, Yuan Venerate Sacred Grounds, and the Yellow Spring Sacred Grounds that had just been eliminated. This way they would feel more secure. After a moment of silence, a sacred master from the Sky Universe Sacred Ground said, "What about their sacred grounds? What about their disciples?" Sacred Master Sky Universe's words meant that he agreed with the decision of Yi Haoran and the others. The other human race sacred masters and the representatives of the demon race also looked at Yi Haoran and the others. The master of the Lingyun Palace said, "As early as the second day after the end of the battle with the Devil Clan, we have already launched an attack on their holy land. Even Alliance Master Yi will take action. Now that 2 days have passed, I think it will be over soon. Those who survived the battle with the demon race, regardless of whether they were in the main alliance or the sub-alliances, should have all been eliminated by now. After the Lingyun Hall master finished speaking, the 5 human race sacred masters and the 15 representatives of the demon race were all shocked. Their actions were too fast. The Heavenly Spirit Sacred Grounds, Yuan Venerate Sacred Grounds, Yellow Spring Sacred Grounds, Heartless Sacred Grounds, and the other sacred grounds were all super sacred grounds and top-notch sacred grounds. They were about to be eliminated in 2 days. Although Yi Tianzong had taken action, this was still too exaggerated. Hao Ranjin sect, Lingyun Hall, Kunlun sect, and the 10 sacred grounds were already so tyrannical? Chapter 143. As if to verify the Lingyun Hall master's words, a Wu Zun powerhouse belonging to the Lingyun Hall rushed over and bowed to the Lingyun Hall master and the others. Then, he reported, "Hall master, the Yellow Spring sacred ground has been destroyed. The remnants are being hunted down." As soon as the Lingyun Hall master finished speaking, before the other human race holy lords and demon race representatives could ask any questions, people from the Hao Ranjin sect, the Kunlun sect, and the 10 great sacred grounds arrived one after another and reported that the Heavenly Spirit Sacred Ground, Heartless Sacred Ground, Yuan Venerate Sacred Ground, Flying Celestial Sacred Ground, and Yushuan Sacred Ground had been destroyed and the remnants were being hunted down. At this moment, the other human race holy lords and demon race representatives had no choice but to believe it. In just 2 days, the arrogant 13 super sacred grounds and peak sacred grounds had been destroyed by the Hao Ranjin sect, the Lingyun Hall, the Kunlun sect, and the 10 great sacred grounds. These were super sacred grounds and peak sacred grounds, which stood at the top of the sacred grounds. Every sacred ground's strength was comparable to theirs or even stronger. However, they had been destroyed so easily. How powerful were the Hao Ranjin sect, the Lingyun Hall, the Kunlun sect, and the 10 great sacred grounds? Would he be able to easily destroy them as well? Looking at the shocked 20 human race holy lords and demon race representatives, Yi Haoran said, "This time, we have wiped out the Heavenly Spirit Sacred Ground, Yellow Spring Sacred Ground, and the other sacred grounds. There are many empty positions in the demon-killing alliances, main alliance, and sub-alliances. Our overall strength has also decreased. The Hao Ranjin sect, the Lingyun Hall, the Kunlun sect, and the 10 great sacred grounds will naturally replenish the manpower and strength that we lack. However, some of the empty positions still need to be reselected. First of all, there are 13 empty positions for the decision-making elders. These positions need to be reselected from the human race. In my opinion, we should temporarily promote the sacred grounds that ranked 22nd to 34th in the previous Prodigy competition. When the next Prodigy competition is held in 7 years, the positions will be determined based on the results of the competition. How about that?" After Yi Haoran finished speaking, 15 representatives agreed. After all, the positions of the human race's forces would be replenished were not to be replaced. It had nothing to do with them. It didn't matter who it was. The remaining 5 human race holy lords also agreed after some consideration and felt that there were no major issues. They also agreed to it. Just like that, a storm that was enough to shake the demon-killing alliance was suppressed by the Hao Ranjin sect, the Lingyun Hall, the Kunlun sect, and the 10 great sacred grounds in a short period of time. Only the various sacred grounds and superpowers in the Central Plains were left with lingering fears. They no longer dared to casually slander or criticize the 3 superpowers: the Hao Ranjin sect, the Lingyun Hall, and the Kunlun sect. The ambitions and plans that had been brewing in their hearts were also suppressed at the bottom of their hearts. The positions that had been left vacant due to the destruction of the 13 sacred grounds, including the Tianling and Yuan Venerate sacred grounds, were also taken up by the 13 sacred grounds that had been promoted later. Among them were the Tai Xian sacred grounds, the ethereal sacred grounds, and the other sacred grounds that were on the same side as the Hao Ranjin sect, the Lingyun Hall, and the Kunlun sect. In the past 30 years, the strength of the 10 great sacred grounds had increased rapidly, and their prodigious disciples had emerged one after another. In the previous prodigy competition, the 10 great sacred grounds had risen to the top 35, and the weakest flowing cloud sacred ground was ranked 34. The sacred masters of the 10 great sacred grounds had the support of the Hao Ranjin sect, the Lingyun Hall, and the Kunlun sect. Naturally, they had no problem becoming the decision-making elders of the demon-killing alliance. The positions that originally belonged to the Tianling and Yuan Venerate sacred grounds were also smoothly taken up by them. However, the other 3 sacred grounds had promised Sacred Master Kongyu and the other 4 sacred masters, as well as Yi Haoran, the Lingyun Hall master, and the Kunlun sect master, in order to smoothly occupy the vacant positions. Even so, the 3 sacred grounds felt that everything was worth it. In addition, the territories of the destroyed Tianling, Yuan Venerate, and Yellow Springs sacred grounds were first plundered by the people of the Hao Ranjin sect, the Lingyun Hall, the Kunlun sect, and the 10 great sacred grounds. Then, each of them occupied an area with a radius of 10,000 miles and set up a stronghold. The remaining large areas were auctioned off within the demon-killing alliance. In any case, the territories that they occupied were already large enough. The territories of the Tianling and Yuan Venerate sacred grounds were far away and difficult to control. After setting up a stronghold, they simply auctioned off the rest of the territories to the nearby super forces or sacred ground. The internal forces of the demon-killing alliance absolutely welcomed the decision of the Hao Ranjin sect, the Lingyun Hall, the Kunlun sect, and the 10 great sacred grounds. The Hao Ranjin sect might not be interested in these territories, but many other forces were fighting over them. In an atmosphere of intense competition, the vast territories of the 13 sacred grounds, including Tianling, Yellow Springs, and Heartless, were all auctioned off. The Hao Ranjin sect, the Lingyun Hall, the Kunlun sect, and the 10 great sacred grounds received a huge amount of cultivation resources in return. Everyone was happy. After all the dust had settled, the storm caused by the destruction of the Heavenly Spirit sect, Heartless sect, and the other holy lands had finally passed. Through this thunderous action, the Righteous sect, the Cloud-reaching Palace, the Kunlun sect, and the 10 holy lands had also established their prestige among the major forces of the Central Plains. Subsequently, a total of 13 million people were added to the demon-killing alliance to make up for the power gap after the destruction of the Tianling and Yellow Springs sacred ground. This was to prepare for the upcoming war with the demon race. After the Hao Ranjin sect, the Lingyun Hall, the Kunlun sect, and the 10 great sacred grounds gained the right to speak in the demon-killing alliance, they revised and strictly enforced some of the rules of the alliance. Regardless of whether it was the main alliance or the sub-alliances, the human clan and the demon race felt a different atmosphere and feeling compared to before. This made them feel more relaxed and secure. They didn't have to worry about being oppressed by stronger forces at all times. The cohesion of the entire demon-killing alliance increased by a knot. In the following 3 years, the Hao Ranjin sect wantonly used the weakened version of the exploding Inferno Pearl to pave the way. In addition to accurate information and strict plans, the demon-killing alliance had won 3 major wars with the demon race. In total, the demon-killing alliance had eliminated more than 500 million demons from the abyss. They had taken back the territories occupied by the demon race. The morale of the demon-killing alliance rose steadily, and the support of the major forces became more and more active. In order to maintain the advantage in the war against the demon race, the higher-ups of the Hao Ranjin sect decided to sell the method of refining the weakened version of the exploding Inferno Pearl to the major forces after careful consideration. Of course, another reason for doing this was that after many years of research, the people of the Formation and Tools Hall had finally mastered the method of refining the complete version of the exploding Inferno Pearl. They had already refined the finished product. After testing it, the effect was very good. Within a radius of 1.5 miles, as long as the person or demon beast didn't exceed the Wu King realm, they would be killed or disabled by the explosion. Even a master of the Wu King realm would be blown to smithereens if he was hit head-on. In this era, the complete version of the exploding Inferno Pearl was absolutely a great weapon to deal with the demon race in the abyss. This result made the people of the Hao Ranjun sect very happy. After inquiring and learning that they could guarantee the production of 5,000 exploding Inferno Pearls per day, the higher-ups of the Hao Ranjun sect decided to recruit another 20,000 people in the Formation and Tools Hall after some consideration. 1 year later, they would sell the method of refining the weakened version of the exploding Inferno Pearl to the major forces in the Central Plains. 1 year later, the leaders of the major forces in the Central Plains gathered in the Demon Killing Alliance's headquarters after receiving the news. Regarding the Hao Ranjun sect's Flaming Pearl, another name for the weakened version of the exploding Inferno Pearl, none of the major forces in the Central Plains didn't want it. This thing was very useful in dealing with the demon race in the abyss. In the recent battles with the demon race in the abyss, almost 1/5 of the demon race was killed by the Flaming Pearl. If dozens of Flaming Pearls were thrown out together, even a master of the Wu King realm would not dare to resist. The transaction went smoothly. The price of the Flaming Pearl sold by the Hao Ranjun sect was not exorbitant. It was within the range of the major forces. As allies, the Lingyun Hall, the Kunlun sect, and the 10 Holy Lands did not participate in the transaction. They privately bought the method of refining the Flaming Pearl from the Hao Ranjun sect at 70% of the price. Chapter 144. After the major forces bought the production method of the Flaming Pearl from the Hao Ranjun sect, the Demon Killing Alliance became more skillful in the battle against the Abyss Devil clan, and the casualties were reduced by a lot. Countless Flaming Pearls were thrown out and exploded, and the Abyss Devil clan suffered heavy casualties. They retreated again and again, and the low-level forces were defeated by the Demon Killing Alliance. The high-level forces of King Wu, Wu Zun, and Wu Sheng were fighting. With the help of various trapping formations, illusion formations, and other formations and discs used by the Hao Ranjun sect and other major forces, the Abyss Devil clan gradually fell into a disadvantageous position. The Demon Killing Alliance killed a lot of Demon Clan experts at the level of Wu Sheng and Wu Zun. With the Abyss Devil clan retreating, the Demon Killing Alliance recaptured a vast area of nearly 1,000,000 miles. Under the leadership of Yi Tianzong, they also destroyed 3 important strongholds of the Abyss Devil clan and destroyed the underground transmission channel. The Abyss Devil clan's strength on the surface was weakened by at least 20%. At this point, the Demon Killing Alliance had gained the upper hand in the battle against the Abyss Devil clan. While the entire Central Plains was immersed in the battle against the Abyss Devil clan, Yi Tianzong, who was in the Hao Ranjun sect, had a new plan. It was not a new plan, but after these years of buffer and development, Yi Tianzong felt that it was time to break the next layer of the Heaven and Earth seal. The concentration of the Heaven and Earth origin Qi had stopped increasing 20 years ago, but the profound spirit world, which had broken the 4th layer of the Heaven and Earth origin Qi, was constantly absorbing endless energy from the outer space. After 20 years of buffer, the Heaven and Earth origin Qi must have recovered a lot, and it was enough for the next expansion. With a plan in mind, Yi Tianzong told Yi Haoran and the high-level members of the Hao Ranjun sect about his plan. He decided to break the Heaven and Earth seal again in 10 years, which was the 7th year after the next Heaven's Pride competition. Naturally, the Hao Ranjun sect fully supported Yi Tianzong's decision. However, Yi Tianzong estimated that, after the expansion, the environment would be restored to the end of ancient times. It would be at least 10 times better than the current environment. Therefore, he had to make some preparations in advance to avoid being caught off guard. For example, many short-distance teleportation arrays had to be replaced with mid-distance teleportation arrays or even long-distance teleportation arrays. These preparations could not be carried out by the Hao Ranjun sect alone. They also had to inform the Lingyun Hall, the Kunlun sect, and the 10 great sacred lands to make preparations together. Although it was important to break the seal of heaven and earth and increase their strength, the Hao Ranjin sect was no longer alone. They still had to consider the situation of their allies. Therefore, Yi Haoran notified the Lingyun Hall master, the Kunlun sect master, and the holy lords of the 10 great holy lands. Although the Lingyun Hall master and the others who received the invitation did not know what important matter Yi Haoran was talking about, they still rushed over very quickly. After the Lingyun Hall master, the Kunlun sect master, and the 10 great holy lords arrived, Yi Haoran told them about the news of breaking the seal of heaven and earth again 10 years later. He also told them about some of the preparations that needed to be made in advance. After receiving this important news, the eyes of the Lingyun Hall master, the Kunlun sect master, and the 10 great holy lords lit up. During these years, the Lingyun Hall master, the Kunlun sect master, and the others had already known about the benefits of breaking the seal of heaven and earth from Yi Haoran. Especially at the end, not only could the energy from heaven and earth increase one's cultivation without any side effects, it could also continuously increase a martial artist's potential and aptitude. This made the Lingyun Hall master and the others very eager. Therefore, the Lingyun Hall master said, "Sect Master Yi, last time you said that you would allow us to bring our disciples to participate." Yi Haoran knew what he was talking about as soon as he heard it. He also understood that the others also wanted to know if the promise was still valid. Therefore, Yi Haoran laughed and said, "Hall Master Ling, Kunlun sect master, and the other great holy lords, don't worry. Our Hao Ranjin sect naturally has no reason to go back on our words. These years we have been getting along well with each other, and our cooperation has been quite pleasant. Therefore, after a discussion between the higher-ups of our Hao Ranjin sect and my son Tianzong, we have decided to allow Lingyun Hall and Kunlun sect to bring 3,600 people to participate when the seal of heaven and earth is broken. The other great holy lords will bring 2,800 people to participate. Of course, the ugly words must be said first. When the seal of heaven and earth is broken, you will have to face the battle, and you will have to fight for victory yourselves. Our Hao Ranjin sect will not take care of the people you brought with you. After all, when the time comes, we will also have no time to take care of ourselves." After Yi Haoran finished speaking, the Lingyun Hall master, Kunlun sect master, and the 10 great holy lords did not have any objections. Being able to increase the number of people who could participate was already an unexpected good thing. Could it be that they still wanted to let the people of Hao Ranjin sect protect the people they brought with them in the battle? They could not afford to lose face like that. If they wanted to obtain the gift of heaven and earth, they would have to work hard to fight for it. There was nothing wrong with this. With the promise that Yi Haoran made on behalf of Hao Ranjin sect, the Lingyun Hall master, Kunlun sect master, and the 10 great holy lords were naturally more friendly towards Hao Ranjin sect. Later on, when Yi Haoran proposed to sell the method to create the short-distance teleportation spell formation, the Lingyun Hall master, Kunlun sect master, and the 10 great holy lords were all overjoyed. They did not expect to gain so much from this trip today. The teleportation spell formation that Hao Ranjin sect had developed was something that all the forces in the Central Plains, regardless of whether they were from the human clan or the demon clan, wanted to obtain. However, no matter how much they studied the teleportation spell formation set up by Hao Ranjin sect, they still could not figure out the materials used to create the teleportation spell formation. Many forces paid a huge price to trade the method to create the teleportation spell formation with Hao Ranjin sect. However, they were all flatly rejected by Hao Ranjin sect. Those who were arrogant and rude were even severely taught a lesson by Hao Ranjin sect. The once destroyed holy lands such as Tianling and Heartless had become enemies with Hao Ranjin sect because of the teleportation spell formation. They did not expect that Hao Ranzhen sect would actually want to sell the method to create the teleportation spell formation today. Therefore, the Lingyun Hall Master, Kunlun Sect Master, and the 10 Great Holy Lords all bought the method to create the teleportation spell formation at a high price. Soon, 10 years had passed. The Demon-Killing Alliance had always been victorious in the battle against the Demon Clan. They had destroyed more than 10 important strongholds of the Demon Clan and exterminated about 3 billion Demon Clan members. Once again, they had taken back the vast territory of nearly 1,000,000 miles. Currently, the Abyss Demon Clan only had 13 important strongholds in the Central Plains other than the Demonic Mountain Range. They occupied less than 1,000,000 miles of land in total. The Demon-Killing Alliance had the absolute upper hand. However, the higher-ups of the Demon-Killing Alliance knew that the remaining 13 strongholds of the Demon Clan were very powerful. They also had the support of the Demonic Mountain Range. It would be very difficult to destroy them. Moreover, the higher-ups of the major forces had seen the endless stream of abyss demons coming out of the Demonic Mountain Range under the leadership of Yi Tianzong. They had been attacked and chased by the overwhelming number of abyss demons. If it were not for Yi Tianzong's protection, they would not have been able to come back. Therefore, they knew that it was unrealistic to completely defeat the abyss demons in a short period of time. They could only rely on battle after battle to exhaust the abyss demon's strength. In the past 10 years, the Hao Ranzhen sect, Lingyun Hall, Kunlun sect, Ethereal sect, Drifting Cloud sect, and the other 10 Great Holy Lands had made preparations to deal with the expansion of heaven and earth. Everything was ready. When there was still a month before the heaven and earth seal was broken, the Lingyun Hall Master, Kunlun Sect Master, and the 10 Great Holy Lands Sacred Lords brought their carefully selected outstanding disciples and Wu Xing's experts to the Hao Ranzhen sect. To be honest, the Lingyun Hall Master, Kunlun Sect Master, and the 10 Great Holy Lands Sacred Lords had a lot of headaches because of the issue of the quota for the Heaven and Earth Seal. It was impossible for the Lingyun Hall Master, Kunlun Sect Master, and the 10 Great Holy Lands Sacred Lords to hide such an important matter from the higher-ups of their respective forces, who didn't know the benefits of breaking the Heaven and Earth Seal. As a result, the higher-ups of the Lingyun Hall, Kunlun Sect, and the 10 Great Holy Lands Sacred Lords were in an uproar because of these quotas. The Lingyun Hall Master, Kunlun Sect Master, and the 10 Great Holy Lands Sacred Lords were extremely annoyed. However, they had no choice but to bite the bullet and mediate. They even had to personally compete for the quota for their disciples and juniors. In the end, they could only let the higher-ups of their respective forces and the most outstanding disciples compete to determine the winner to fill the quota. It wasn't that the higher-ups of their respective forces didn't ask the Lingyun Hall Master, Kunlun Sect Master, and the 10 Great Holy Lands Sacred Lords to discuss with the Hao Ranzhen sect whether they could increase the quota for the Heaven and Earth Seal. In response, the Lingyun Hall Master, Kunlun Sect Master, and the others directly said, "Do you think I don't want to? I still want to be the one to break the Heaven and Earth Seal ourselves. When the time comes, we can do whatever we want. But is that possible? How do you want me to open my mouth?" The Hao Ranzhen sect took the initiative to increase the quota for the Heaven and Earth Seal sect because we have been more competent allies over the years. Now that you want me to fight for more quotas, do you still think that it's not enough after I fight for it? Do you still want more quotas? The Hao Ranzhen sect can take the initiative to increase the quota for the Heaven and Earth Seal sect, but we have decided not to take the initiative to ask for it. We are all people who have lived for so many years. Don't you understand this? Don't ruin your long-term benefits for the sake of immediate benefit. We have a pleasant cooperation this time. Next time, we will definitely increase the quota for the Heaven and Earth Seal sect. Don't be foolish. If you don't believe me, you can go and find the Hao Ranzhen sect yourselves. Don't go using my name. Go by yourselves? What a joke. Let's not talk about whether we are familiar with the sect master of the Hao Ranzhen sect. Our ranks aren't high enough. The higher-ups of the Lingyun Hall, Kunlun sect, and the 10 Great Holy Lands knew that they were being unreasonable. In the end, they had no choice but to give up on that idea and began to fight for the quotas. Chapter 145. Please add it to your collection and recommend it. After the people from Lingyun Hall, Kunlun sect, and the 10 Great Holy Lands arrived, they naturally couldn't avoid sparring with the disciples of Hao Ranjin sect. However, the results were heartbreaking. As the outstanding disciples of Lingyun Hall, Kunlun sect, and the 10 Great Holy Lands, they naturally couldn't help but feel arrogant. Although many disciples had already seen the glory of Hao Ranjin sect's disciples during the prodigy competition, there were still some new genius disciples who weren't convinced. All geniuses and experts were conceited. Unless they saw it with their own eyes or experienced it personally, they would still maintain a skeptical attitude no matter what others said. Therefore, the new disciples of the 10 Great Holy Lands, Lingyun Hall, and Kunlun sect who didn't believe in heresy challenged the disciples of Hao Ranjin sect. The results were obvious. The geniuses of Hao Ranjin sect never lost a fight against someone of the same level. The worst result was a draw. All of a sudden, the new geniuses of the 10 Great Holy Lands, Lingyun Hall, and Kunlun sect all became honest and no longer looked arrogant. After a month, it was finally the day to break the seal of heaven and earth. This time, it was the day to break the seal of heaven and earth. Nearly 1 million experts of the Marquis Wu, King Wu, Wu Zun, and Wu Xing level gathered in an orderly manner outside Haoran City. As Yi Tianzong broke through the barrier of Wu Xing's 3rd heaven and advanced to Wu Xing's 5th heaven, the lightning tribulation once again descended from heaven and earth. For the people of Hao Ranjin sect who had broken the seal of heaven and earth many times, although the lightning tribulation made them feel a fatal crisis, they were already used to it. Therefore, they could still maintain their composure. However, for the people of Lingyun Hall, Kunlun sect, and the 10 Great Holy Lands who experienced such a situation for the first time, the feeling of being unable to resist at all made them feel terrified and uneasy. After Yi Tianzong passed through the lightning tribulation, the dark clouds that covered a radius of dozens of miles transformed into figures of dark clouds and descended. They started a great battle with the nearly 1 million people below. When they really fought, the people of Lingyun Hall, Kunlun sect, and the 10 Great Holy Lands finally understood how the people of Hao Ranjin sect felt back then. The dark clouds of dark clouds had the same strength as them. The dark clouds of Great Holy Land were not afraid of death, unless its energy was used up. The people of Hao Ranjin sect and the sect's Great Holy Lands were simply flustered. Although the people of Hao Ranjin sect had reminded them of some things to pay attention to when they really faced against something that couldn't be killed. After fighting for a while, they saw that more than half of the energy in their bodies had been used up, while the dark clouds on the other side were completely fine. On the other hand, the other people of Hao Ranjin sect were still full of energy and seemed to be fighting fiercely with the dark clouds. All the people of Lingyun Hall, Kunlun sect, and the 10 Great Holy Lands were worried and frustrated. In the end, Yi Tianzong, who was fighting with the dark clouds, diverted a part of his attention and directly transmitted a message to them. He told them to retreat from the area covered by the dark clouds and swallow elixirs to recover before continuing the battle. After repeating this several times, the dark clouds finally exhausted its energy. However, it also consumed a lot of energy and mental strength. After the dark clouds disappeared, the people of Lingyun Hall, Kunlun sect, and the 10 Great Holy Lands were completely exhausted. They sat down on the ground, drenched in sweat, and panted heavily like dying dogs. Even the Lingyun Hall master, Kunlun sect master, and the 10 Great Holy Lands were no exception. They sat down on the ground without any grace. There were also many people who were injured by the dark clouds due to their carelessness during the battle. They directly withdrew from the battle midway. It was a stark contrast to the people of Hao Ranjun sect, who could still maintain a part of their battle strength. Looking at the people of Hao Ranjun sect, who were still in good spirits, the Lingyun Hall Master, Kunlun Sect Master, and the 10 great holy lands could not help but sigh in their hearts. No wonder they could not win against the disciples of Hao Ranjun sect. Not to mention other things, just their physical strength alone was not comparable to the disciples of Hao Ranjun sect. When they returned, they had to pay attention to this aspect. Otherwise, it would be dangerous if they ran out of energy while fighting with enemies in the future. Next, Yi Tianzong activated the boundless Haoran righteous energy between heaven and earth and transformed into a golden-armored deity. He waved his divine sword and cut off the heaven and earth sealing chains. When the people of Lingyun Hall, Kunlun sect, and the 10 great holy lands thought that this was the end, they did not expect that the severed heaven and earth sealing chains would actually reassemble into a dark and evil humanoid creature wearing a black soul-absorbing battle armor. Its tyrannical aura enveloped the sky for hundreds of miles. With just a glance, everyone felt as if their souls were being sucked into the abyss by a black hole with boundless gravitational force. Humph! Yi Tianzong's cold snort woke everyone up like a sudden clap of thunder. After they came to their senses, everyone could not help but break out in a cold sweat. Their hearts still had lingering fear. Oh my God, what was this thing that was so terrifying? With just a glance, they felt as if they were about to fall into the abyss. While the people below were still guessing, Yi Tianzong had already started fighting with the humanoid creature in black armor. Once the fight started, it would be truly earth-shattering. Yi Tianzong and the black humanoid creature fought fiercely high up in the sky. The imposing and domineering golden fist that suppressed all enemies clashed with the unstoppable black claw that cut through space. The space within a radius of dozens of miles shook and distorted, and the Yuan Qi went wild. At the center of the collision between the golden fist and the black claw, the violent energy tore through the tenacious space, forming numerous spatial cracks. From the perspective of the people below, it was as if gold and black were fiercely clashing in the sky. The mighty and invincible world-suppressing fist will and the strange and firm evil demonic will filled the vast space within a radius of thousands of miles. The intense aura and fluctuations could be clearly felt even from thousands of miles away. This time, fighting against the black humanoid creature was even more stressful than the last time. Yi Tianzong unleashed his full strength. Unlike the last time when he only used the world-suppressing fist, Yi Tianzong also used the heaven-covering palm, God-shattering finger, space-rending claw, and other techniques to fight fiercely with the black humanoid creature. He did not dare to use his divine sense to attack, because the black humanoid creature's core was a wisp of divine sense. Its quality and level were much higher than Yi Tianzong's divine sense. Although it was only a wisp, if Yi Tianzong used his divine sense to attack, he would only suffer a backlash. The gains would not make up for the losses. Looking at the battle between Yi Tianzong and the black humanoid creature, the Lingyun Hall, Kunlun sect, and the 10 holy lands below were all shocked. What was that black thing? It could actually fight with Alliance Master Yi to such an extent. This was too exaggerated. It was simply a fight between immortals. Compared to them, the strength that they were usually proud of was nothing. Yi Tianzong led the black humanoid creature to a place far away from the Hao Ranjun sect's territory. Wherever the two sides went, all the martial artists who noticed the commotion would look up and see the two enormous skies, one black and one golden, constantly colliding with each other. Haoran's masculine aura and evil aura were fiercely fighting against each other. Everyone could feel that the two sides in the battle were invincible masters who were far above them. Although they did not know who it was, as long as there was nothing wrong with their brains, they would hope that the side that represented the golden sky would win. Outside Haoran City, the Lingyun Hall Master looked at Yi Haoran and asked, "Sect Master Yi, that black humanoid, what is that humanoid thing?" He did not ask why he did not chase after it, which was obviously stupid. As long as he was not stupid, he knew that even if he chased after it, it would be useless and would only cause more trouble, not to mention that he could not catch up with it. Not only the Lingyun Hall Master, but also the Kunlun Sect Master and the 10 Holy Lords looked at Yi Haoran in confusion. Yi Haoran looked at the direction where Yi Tianzong and the enemy had gone in a daze. After hearing the Lingyun Hall Master's words, he sighed and said, "This thing appeared when the seal of heaven and earth was broken last time. Tianzong will not be back for a while. This is not the place to talk. You'd better follow me back to Haoran City first. This secret is not suitable for too many people to know." After Yi Haoran finished speaking, the Lingyun Hall Master and others realized that this was indeed not the time to talk, so they returned to Haoran City with Yi Haoran and others. Chapter 146. After returning to Haoran City, Yi Haoran, the higher-ups of Hao Ranjin sect, and the Lingyun Hall Master took their seats in the main hall of the City Lord's mansion. Yi Haoran said to the Lingyun Hall Master and the others, "Hall Master Ling and Sect Master Kuan know about the humanoid creature in black armor that appeared just now. I have mentioned it before, but Tai Xian Saint Master and the others may not know, so it's okay to say it again. The black humanoid creature was formed by a trace of the spirit of the tyrannical existence that was suppressed in the depths of our world. Back then, there was a great change. A battle between powerful figures from outside our world affected our world. In the end, a powerful evil existence was suppressed in the depths of our world. These seals of heaven and earth extracted the origin of our world and the power of the suppressed existence as the source of power for the seals. If we hadn't broken the seals of heaven and earth, this evil existence would have been destroyed as the world continued to decline. But now the seals are broken, and the world is beginning to recover. Then the existence suppressed in the depths of the world will gradually recover and break free. But the recovery speed of the world is faster than the recovery speed of the suppressed existence. Therefore, because of the special source of power of the seals of heaven and earth, the suppressed existence attached a trace of its spirit to the seals of heaven and earth. The moment the seals of heaven and earth were broken, it gathered its power and wanted to kill everyone who broke the seals of heaven and earth. Looking at the thoughtful expressions of Tai Xian Saint Master and the others, Yi Haoran briefly explained the relevant secrets. In the end, he said, "In the future, every time we break the seals of heaven and earth, we will encounter such a situation. Only Tianzong can face such an enemy. If we go up, we will die. The difference in strength is too great. Unless we want to wait for death, we have no choice but to go all the way. If we persist, we may have a chance of survival. If we give up, we will definitely die. Also, my son Tianzong guessed that the Abyss Devil Clan was created by the evil existence suppressed in the depths of our world. It used its evil power to erode the creatures that originally existed in the underground world and transform them into the Abyss Devil Clan that we see. The purpose is to weaken the strength and living beings of our world, delaying the recovery of the world." Yi Haoran paused and continued, "When Tianzong destroys the last enemy, the world will begin to expand. After the expansion is complete, we will receive the feedback of the world. This will take at least half a month. Everyone, wait patiently. The battle just now was not easy. If there is nothing else, you can go back and rest. Everything will wait until Tianzong comes back." After Yi Haoran finished speaking, the Lingyun Hall Master, Kunlun Sect Master, and the 10 great sacred masters considered for a moment. Since there was nothing else for them to do for the time being, they stood up and bid farewell to Yi Haoran and returned to their residences in Haoran City. The battle just now had exhausted them quite a bit, and they still hadn't recovered from it. It was time for them to have a good rest. On the other side, Yi Tianzong and the black humanoid creature were fighting in the vast horizon. They had already crossed millions of kilometers and continued for more than 2 hours. Wherever they passed, the great battle waves attracted the attention of the human clan and the demon clan. They each sent masters at the 3rd heaven level of Wusheng to see what was going on. However, even Yi Tianzong and the black humanoid creature were fighting fiercely within 100 kilometers of each other. Just the aftermath of the battle frightened all the masters at the third heaven level of Wu Xing who came to investigate, and they had to avoid it carefully. After some effort, they barely saw that the person who represented the golden half of the sky was Yi Tianzong. After seeing it clearly, everyone was shocked and in disbelief. As the leader of the demon-killing alliance, Yi Tianzong's strength was beyond doubt. He was absolutely the best in the world. All the masters at the level of Wu Xing who had seen Yi Tianzong fight could hardly compare with Yi Tianzong. Then, who was the black humanoid creature that was equally matched with Yi Tianzong? From afar, they could feel the dark and evil demonic aura that soared into the sky. It was somewhat similar to the demonic aura of the Abyss Demon Clan, but it was much more evil and sinister than the demonic aura of the Abyss Demon Clan. All the masters of the human clan and the demon clan who were following behind understood that they could not let the black humanoid creature live. Other than his strongest moves, the boundless godly sword and the boundless sword technique, Yi Tianzong could be said to have used all his moves. The world-suppressing fist, the heaven-covering palm, the god-shattering finger, the space-rending claw, and all sorts of other fierce and tyrannical attacks were used. However, he could only contend with the black humanoid creature. This battle was much more difficult than the previous one. Fortunately, Yi Tianzong had faced many more difficult and desperate situations than this in his previous life. Therefore, Yi Tianzong did not feel discouraged because of the long battle. On the contrary, ever since he reincarnated into the profound spirit world, none of the enemies that he had met could fight. Yi Tianzong could not tell anyone about the loneliness and depression in his heart. Only Ling Xinyue, who had been with him day and night, could sense the loneliness in his heart. Now that he had met an enemy that was even stronger than him, it was naturally something that Yi Tianzong wished for. He had not made any progress for a very long time. He had been bound by the shackles of his previous life. He had not made any progress, and although he had the supreme potential of a heaven's pride, he could not display much of it. This made Yi Tianzong very distressed. Until the last battle with the black humanoid creature, Yi Tianzong finally began to show signs of surpassing the shackles of his previous life in the fierce battle. He had a better understanding of his own path, the cultivation methods, and martial skills he had created. However, because the enemy had disappeared too early, he had not been able to progress any further. Now that Yi Tianzong was fighting with it again, he could not wait for the black humanoid creature to last longer. It would be best if it could fight for 3 days and 3 nights. Yi Tianzong was confident that he would be able to improve further. After all, the black humanoid creature in front of him was formed from a strand of soul that was at least at the level of a great emperor. It contained part of the profound mysteries of a higher realm. In the process of fighting with it, Yi Tianzong could use his aura and soul to sense the profound mysteries of a higher realm. In the end, he could turn them into his own understanding and raise his cultivation level. This would remove some obstacles for him to reach the God-King realm in the future. Martial artists could easily gain more insights in life and death battles. In the battle with the black humanoid creature, Yi Tianzong was able to freely switch between the various powerful martial techniques in the heavenly expanse mysterious scripture that he had created himself. There was no hindrance to it at all. Furthermore, as the battle progressed, Yi Tianzong gained more insights, and the various martial skills became more powerful and profound. There was a faint sign that they were going to reach a new level. Yi Tianzong's strength and aura also became stronger and stronger. This time, the black humanoid creature lasted for an exceptionally long time. 6 hours passed, 8 hours passed, all the way until 10 hours passed. Only then did the black humanoid creature's aura weaken slightly. Yi Tianzong's eyes became brighter and brighter, and his insights grew more and more. Under the continuous use of various martial skills, Yi Tianzong's world-suppressing fist, heaven-covering palm, god-shattering finger, and void-rending claw were finally able to take another step forward and enter the next level of heaven and earth. Yi Tianzong's body also seemed to have broken through a layer of invisible shackles. His entire strength and aura changed abruptly, becoming even more profound and invincible. His battle prowess also increased slightly. Although it was not very obvious, he had completely broken through the shackles of his previous life, and was able to unleash more of his potential. Completely breaking through the shackles of his previous life, his strength had once again broken through. Yi Tianzong immediately let out a carefree roar, which reverberated across a radius of several hundred li. Then, he began to fight with the black humanoid creature even more valiantly. This time, Yi Tianzong's battle prowess had reached a level where it was on par with the black humanoid creature. In the darkness of the night, his entire body shone with Howren's majestic golden light, as if he was an unparalleled god of war. His aura was swift and fierce, and in the following battle, he gradually suppressed the black humanoid creature. Chapter 147. Today's update is 2 chapters. I'll write more tonight and strive for 3 chapters tomorrow. Please bookmark and recommend me. Under Yi Tianzong's fierce attack, the black humanoid creature persisted for another 2 hours before finally dissipating. Just like the last time, all its power condensed on the wisp of divine soul and rushed into Yi Tianzong's mind. Finally, it was crushed by the immortal mansion hidden in Yi Tianzong's mind and turned into pure divine soul energy with no attributes, benefiting Yi Tianzong. After absorbing the divine soul energy, Yi Tianzong's divine soul, which was originally at the peak of the divine realm, began to show signs of transforming to a higher level. After a difficult battle, Yi Tianzong finally won. After fighting for more than 18 hours, Yi Tianzong was also very tired. He directly entered the immortal mansion and disappeared into the sky. The Wuxing level experts of various forces who were watching the battle in the distance wanted to congratulate Yi Tianzong after seeing his victory and see if they could find out the identity of the enemy. However, they did not expect that Yi Tianzong would disappear in the blink of an eye. After failing to find out anything, everyone knew that Yi Tianzong had left. They sighed and simply left. The night in the outside world passed and ushered in the second day. In the immortal mansion, Yi Tianzong rested for 2 days before recovering to his peak state. Coming out of the immortal mansion, Yi Tianzong saw that the whole world was expanding rapidly. The vegetation and spiritual herbs were growing crazily, and countless beasts had evolved into monsters. The concentration of the qi of heaven and earth increased, the space became more solid, the sky became higher and farther, and the earth became wider. The limit of the power that heaven and earth could accommodate became higher and higher. Yi Tianzong smiled faintly. After identifying the direction, he directly headed in the direction of the Hao Ranjun sect. With one step, he crossed 3,000 miles in an instant and disappeared into the sky in 2 or 3 steps. In less than a quarter of an hour, Yi Tianzong returned to the Haoran city and saw his family, who had been waiting for him. Seeing them, Yi Tianzong smiled and said, "The enemy has been destroyed by me. I'm fine." The cold and beautiful Ling Xinyue walked to Yi Tianzong's side like a little wife. She carefully looked at Yi Tianzong from left to right and was relieved when she was sure that there was no problem. Seeing her look, Yi Tianzong could not help but pinch Ling Xinyue's warm and soft little hand. Seeing Yi Tianzong return safely, Yi Haoran, Su Mingxin, and the others breathed a sigh of relief. Su Mingxin and Li Qingya looked at Yi Haoran happily and said with red eyes, "It's good that you're fine. It's good that you're fine." Yi Haoran looked at Yi Tianzong with relief and asked, "Tianzong, was the enemy very difficult to deal with this time? Otherwise, why did it take so long? We thought you had an accident." Yi Tianzong nodded and said, "It was very difficult to deal with, but this is normal. The stronger the strength and realm of a warrior are, the harder it is to be killed, let alone the strong at least at the great emperor realm. It's not an exaggeration to say that it's difficult for heaven to destroy and earth to bury. A trace of their divine soul is very difficult to be destroyed. In the future, as we continue to break the seal of heaven and earth, the enemies will become more and more powerful. It's not unusual for them to fight for 3 days and 3 nights. You don't have to worry. I have a way to guarantee my safety. Now, before the expansion of heaven and earth is completed, you'd better try to break through. At that time, with the help of the feedback of heaven and earth, you can directly break through to the peak of the 4th heaven of Wuxing or the 5th heaven of Wuxing. You can also save a lot of cultivation time. After Yi Tianzong finished speaking, Yi Tianzong said, "Well, Tianzong is right. Since Tianzong has come back safely, there is nothing to worry about. Now we'd better seize the time to cultivate. When the expansion of heaven and earth is completed, those holy lands will definitely cause trouble again. We can't just let Tianzong solve it." After Yi Haoran finished speaking, Yi Haoran, Li Qingya, and the others did not object, so they all returned to their own residences to cultivate in seclusion. Yi Tianzong set up a set of super formations for the residences of Yi Haoran, Yi Haoyun, and other family members. The concentration of qi of heaven and earth inside was 3 times that of the outside world. It was simply a paradise. Yi Haoran and the others' accumulation and comprehension were enough to make a breakthrough. Before the expansion of heaven and earth was completed, there was a great chance that they could complete the breakthrough and reach the 4th heaven of Wuxing. After learning that Yi Tianzong had returned safely, the whole Hao Ranjun sect breathed a sigh of relief. At the same time, they also entered seclusion, trying to break through to the next realm before the expansion of heaven and earth was completed. Even the people of Lingyun Hall, Kunlun sect, and the 10 Holy Lands, who had been waiting for the feedback of heaven and earth, patted their foreheads in annoyance and began to enter seclusion to try to break through one after another after inquiring about the reason why the masters above the Marquis Wu realm of Hao Ranjun sect had entered seclusion. The expansion of heaven and earth lasted for a whole month before it finally stopped. After the expansion of heaven and earth, it was 30 times larger than before. The concentration of qi of heaven and earth had increased by 3 times. The limit of the realm that could accommodate warriors to break through had been raised to the peak of the 6th heaven of Wuxing. It had to be said that Hao Ranjun sect was indeed favored and cared for by heaven and earth within a radius of 10,000 miles around Tiangang Peak. In this 1 month, not only on Tiangang Peak, even the people of Hao Ranjun sect, Lingyun Hall, Kunlun sect, and the 10 Holy Lands, who were in seclusion in Haoran City, had all successfully broken through to the next realm, as if they had been assisted by God. After successfully breaking through to the current realm, everyone also sensed that the expansion of heaven and earth had stopped. Thus, they all walked out of their rooms and appeared outside, looking up at the empty and high sky. Not long after, they saw a vast and mighty dark blue Milky Way rushing down from the endless depths of the sky. It divided into 2 tributaries, one big and one small, and turned into countless water balls and thin streams respectively, pouring into all the people who had directly or indirectly participated in breaking the seal of heaven and earth. After absorbing the energy of heaven and earth, Yi Tianzong directly broke through to the peak of the 6th heaven of Wuxing. Ling Xinyue broke through to the late stage of the 5th heaven of Wuxing. Yi Haoran, Yi Yuanshan, and the others broke through to the early stage of the 5th heaven of Wuxing. The entire Hao Ranjun sect had gained more than 5,700 experts at the level of Wuxing. Among them, there were more than 300 people who had reached the 4th heaven of Wuxing. Most of them were outstanding disciples with special constitutions who had been nurtured by Yi Tianzong. Over the years, Yi Tianzong had nurtured a total of 1,500 disciples with special constitutions. Those who had broken through to the 4th heaven of Wuxing in this round of heaven and earth feedback were the first few hundred people to be nurtured. The remaining 1,200 or so outstanding disciples, due to their short cultivation time or insufficient accumulation, had basically broken through to the second heaven or third heaven of Wuxing. This was enough to become the mainstay of the Hao Ranjun sect. These people were the future pillars that the Hao Ranjun sect would rely on to show disdain for any other forces. In addition to the people of the Hao Ranjun sect, the people of the Lingyun Hall, the Kunlun sect, and the 10 Holy Lands who had come to participate in this round of heaven and earth feedback had also broken through to the martial arts realm. For example, the Hall Master of the Lingyun Hall and the Sect Master of the Kunlun sect had spent a lot of resources and worked hard to cultivate. Before breaking the seal of heaven and earth, they had finally cultivated to the third heaven of Wuxing. There were 9 heavens in the celestial being Wuxing. Each heaven was like ascending to the heavens. The difference between each heaven and earth was very obvious. For every step forward, in addition to absorbing a lot of chi of heaven and earth, one had to comprehend the profound meaning of heaven and earth to reach the limit of a breakthrough. It was very difficult to cultivate in the realm of Wuxing. The reason why the Hall Master of the Lingyun Hall and the Sect Master of the Kunlun sect could keep up with the pace of the recovery of heaven and earth and break through to the third heaven of Wuxing was not only because of their extraordinary talent, but also because they had the support of the Lingyun Hall and the Sect Master of the Kunlun sect. They had countless heavenly treasures and earthly treasures, spiritual herbs, and pills for their cultivation. This could save a lot of time for them to absorb the chi of heaven and earth. Otherwise, no matter how extraordinary their talent was, it would be impossible for them to reach the third heaven of Wuxing in a short period of time only by absorbing the chi of heaven and earth. Before the expansion of heaven and earth was completed, the Hall Master of the Lingyun Hall and the Sect Master of the Kunlun sect directly broke through to the peak of the third heaven of Wuxing. Now, after absorbing the energy of heaven and earth, the profound meaning of space was so close at hand. The two of them smoothly broke through to the middle stage of the fourth heaven of Wuxing. There were also the sacred masters of the 10 great holy lands, such as Tianxian, Drifting Cloud, and Piaomiao, who were originally at the third heaven of Wuxing. Because of their profound accumulation and comprehension over a long period of time, they directly broke through to the peak of the fourth heaven of Wuxing. The outstanding disciples brought by the Hall Master of the Lingyun Hall, the Sect Master of the Kunlun sect, and the Sacred Masters, as well as some experts at the level of Wuxing, all broke through to the next realm after absorbing the energy of heaven and earth. They could clearly feel that their potential and foundation had become stronger. Everyone could not help but show an excited look on their faces. Chapter 148. Only those who had persevered through the process of breaking the seal of heaven and earth could truly feel the joy of increasing their strength and potential foundation. Those from Lingyun Hall, Kunlun sect, and the 10 great holy lands, who had been injured and withdrawn, had only received some feedback from the heavens and earth. Their strength had increased slightly, but they were far from comparable to the others. Looking at the joyful expressions of the others, these people were annoyed and envious. They could only blame themselves for being careless and missing out on such a great opportunity. 3 days later, the Lingyun Hall Master, Kunlun Sect Master, and the 10 great holy masters, who had completely consolidated their strength, once again gathered with Yi Haoran and the others. The Lingyun Hall Master cupped his fists and said to Yi Haoran, "This time, we are very grateful to Sect Master Yi Haoran and your sect for giving us this opportunity. If there is anything you need in the future, please feel free to ask. As long as the Lingyun Hall is able to do it, we will not refuse." After the Lingyun Hall Master finished speaking, the Kunlun Sect Master and the 10 great holy masters also expressed their gratitude to Yi Haoran and the Hao Ranjun sect. They also expressed that they would not refuse any help in the future. Yi Haoran smiled and said, "You are all too polite. The Hao Ranjun sect has never been stingy with our true friends and allies. We are all in the same camp, so it is only right for us to help and benefit each other. After breaking the seal of heaven and earth this time, I believe that the old antiques from the other Holy Lands will definitely not be as obedient as before. At that time, we will need to support each other. As long as we continue to cooperate happily, we will invite all of you to participate in the next time we break the seal of heaven and earth." After Yi Haoran said this, the eyes of the Lingyun Hall Master, Kunlun Sect Master, and the 10 great holy masters suddenly lit up. Only those who had truly experienced the wonderful sublimation of their strength and potential would know how rare it was to be able to participate in breaking the seal of heaven and earth. The increase of one's potential represented the increase of the upper limit of one's martial arts in the future. This was a great opportunity that could change one's fate. And for such a great opportunity, other than going through a difficult battle from the beginning to the end, the rest of the process was nothing. The most difficult part was all solved by Yi Tianzong, who wouldn't want to continue participating in such a great opportunity. They would kill anyone who dared to stop them. After thanking Yi Haoran and the Hao Ranjin sect once again, they discussed the future of the Demon-Killing Alliance and the Central Plains. After that, the Lingyun Hall Master, the Kunlun Sect Master, and the 10 great Saint Masters left Haoran City with their respective teams and returned to their respective factions. 10 years passed in the blink of an eye. The 10 years after the expansion of the world was the best time for all forces to improve their strength. In the Central Plains, both the human clan and the demon clan were seizing the time to improve their strength and control their own territories. The decennial tournament of geniuses was also postponed. Even the demon clan in the abyss was accumulating strength and awakening the more powerful demon clan experts that had been in hibernation. There were almost no battles with the Demon-Killing Alliance. The entire Central Plains was peaceful. However, this peace did not include the demon clan in the Hao Ranjin sect and the Haoran Mountain Range. In the 5th year after the expansion of the world, the demon clan in the Haoran Mountain Range had made sufficient preparations. They gathered more than 900 level 9 monsters, which were equivalent to the human Wuxing, and countless monsters of level 3 and above. They once again fought against the Hao Ranjin sect. Everyone in the Hao Ranjin sect found the persevering demon clan in the depths of the Haoran Mountain Range a little funny. They were really stubborn. Were they addicted to being beaten? In the past, the Hao Ranjin sect's foundation was shallow. They mainly relied on Yi Tianzong, Yi Haoran, and the others to deter and fight. But now, with the continuous breaking of the seal of the world and the rapid growth of various heavenly talents, the fighting strength of the Hao Ranjin sect's Wuxing level had quickly caught up. In terms of numbers, they were much more powerful than those holy lands with a long history. Now, even if Yi Tianzong, Yi Haoran, and the others didn't have to take action, the high-end fighting strength of the Hao Ranjin sect's Wuxing level was enough to deal with the demon clan in the depths of the Haoran Mountain Range. In the depths of the Haoran Mountain Range, the Hao Ranjin sect and the demon clan fought again. This time, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, Yi Haoran, and the others didn't take action. They just stood in the distance and watched, letting the Hao Ranjin sect's Wuxing level experts fight fiercely with the demon clan's monsters. In terms of the number of martial saints, the Hao Ranjin sect outnumbered the demon clan in the mountain range by 7 to 8 times. Although most of the martial saints were Wuxing's first heaven or second heaven, they were outnumbered. The more than 900 level 9 monsters of the demon clan were besieged and beaten by Wuxing of the Hao Ranjin sect, who outnumbered them by 8 to 1. They could only defend themselves. As the founder of the Hao Ranjin sect, Ho Hyunten was a very outstanding genius of his generation. After breaking the seal of heaven and earth twice, not only did Ho Hyunten's potential increase greatly, but his strength also directly broke through to the middle stage of Wuxing's 5th heaven when he broke the seal of heaven and earth 5 years ago. He was a super expert in the Hao Ranjin sect, second only to Yi Tianzong's family. In this battle with the demon clan, Ho Hyunten fought alone against a level 9 monster that was equivalent to the peak of the 5th heaven. Their battle was equally fierce. The fierce battle lasted for nearly 6 hours. The demon clan, who were full of confidence and wanted to take revenge, was once again defeated by the Hao Ran Zhen sect and suffered heavy losses. They fled in panic. In the end, less than 100 of the 900 class 9 demonic beasts survived. This was because the righteous sect didn't want to beat the demonic beasts too badly and let them go. Otherwise, they would have been completely wiped out. However, the 12 members of the celestial ferret, the 9-headed demon bird, and the black-winged tiger demon were captured by the Hao Ran Zhen sect. Under various threats and promises, they finally became the guardian monsters of the Hao Ran Zhen sect. The demon clan, who had been beaten up again, hid in the Haoran mountain range and did not dare to provoke the Hao Ran Zhen sect again. They were completely well-behaved. Time passed peacefully like this. It had been 13 years since the seal of heaven and earth was broken. It was time for the Tianjiao competition, which was held once every 10 years. Because of the expansion of heaven and earth, all the warriors in the world generally benefited. In more than 10 years, a large number of outstanding disciples and juniors emerged from every force, regardless of whether it was the human clan or the demon clan. Therefore, the scale of the Tianjiao competition this time was larger than any of the previous competitions. The major forces of the human clan and the demon clan in the Central Plains gathered in Tianjiao City again. In more than 10 years, the masters of Wu Xing's fourth heaven and above had awakened from their respective secret realms. This was especially true for the Holy Lands with a long history. After the emergence of their own heritage, their morale and confidence had obviously increased. The arrogance and despotism that had been suppressed by the Hao Ran Zhen sect, the Lingyun Hall, the Kunlun sect, and the 10 great holy lands when they were in charge of the demon-killing alliance showed signs of recovery. The Lingyun Hall and the Kunlun sect were the divine king forces that dominated the world in the mythological era. Their heritage was much stronger than theirs. Naturally, those holy lands would not casually offend the Lingyun Hall and the Kunlun sect. Although the Hao Ran Zhen sect had broken the seal of heaven and earth and was very powerful, in the eyes of those arrogant holy lands, they did not think much of the Hao Ran Zhen sect. In their eyes, the Hao Ran Zhen sect was just a small force with a few thousand years of heritage. It was only because of a coincidence that it had the method to break the seal of heaven and earth. It did not have any heritage at all. Although the strength of the Hao Ran Zhen sect was increasing rapidly and the so-called young lord was also very powerful, the further one's cultivation of martial arts, the harder it was to improve. A sect could not be established by only one person. Without any heritage, the Hao Ran Zhen sect would definitely not be able to keep up with the development of the times in the future. In the end, it would still be below them. At that time, all the humiliation and lessons that the Hao Ran Zhen sect had given them in the past would definitely be paid back in double. Therefore, those holy lands who were dissatisfied or jealous in their hearts spoke of the Hao Ran Zhen sect in a strange way. Even the Tai Xian sect, the Carefree sect, the Ethereal sect, and the other holy lands were implicated and mocked and ridiculed. Chapter 149. The Hao Ran Zhen sect and the 10 great holy lands naturally heard the sarcastic remarks of the Holy Land. They were so angry that they wanted to teach them a lesson immediately. Yi Haoran did not look angry after hearing the sarcastic remarks of the Holy Lands. He said to the Haoran disciples who came to participate in the prodigy competition expressionlessly, "Do you see those arrogant Holy Lands? Remember them. You know what to do during the competition, right?" The Haoran disciples all nodded and promised that they would teach those holy lands a lesson during the competition. Seeing the Hao Ran Zhen sect's response, the holy lords of the 10 great holy lands also followed suit. They instructed their disciples to teach those holy lands a lesson during the competition. Even the Lingyun Hall master and the Kunlun sect master sighed at those stupid holy lands after hearing the news. They also said the same thing to their disciples. They had signed an alliance with the Hao Ran Zhen sect, so they naturally had to advance and retreat with the Hao Ranjin sect. Moreover, they were still hoping that the Hao Ranjin sect would give them more places the next time the seal of heaven and earth was broken. Every time the seal of heaven and earth was broken, there was a limit to the amount of energy one could receive from the heavens and earth. Once more people participated, the amount of energy each person would receive would be less on average. The Lingyun Hall, the Kunlun sect, and the 10 Great Holy Lands participated in the process of breaking the seal of heaven and earth. They were blatantly snatching the benefits that should have belonged to the Hao Ranjin sect. They already felt that there was not enough to share. In the end, these outsiders actually interfered. They did not do anything and still wanted to get a share. If it were anyone else, they would definitely be unhappy. It was good enough that they did not find fault with them. After the Lingyun Hall Master, the Kunlun Sect Master, and the Holy Lords of the 10 Great Holy Lands personally experienced the benefits, they naturally understood that their participation in breaking the seal of heaven and earth would definitely cause dissatisfaction in the Hao Ranjin sect. Fortunately, Yi Tianzong and Yi Haoran's family had supreme prestige in the Hao Ranjin sect. Their words were absolute. When they decided on something, others would suppress it even if they had any objections. However, they definitely would not treat them well. From the meeting in Tianjiao City this time, the higher-ups and disciples of the Hao Ranjin sect could still feel their dissatisfaction. Therefore, in order to obtain more places in the future and not cause dissatisfaction in the Hao Ranjin sect, the Lingyun Hall, the Kunlun sect, and the 10 Great Holy Lords unanimously decided that they must build a good relationship with the powerhouses and disciples of the Hao Ranjin sect in the demon-killing alliance. They would help within the scope of their abilities. This way, when they continued to participate in breaking the seal of heaven and earth in the future, the people of the Hao Ranjin sect would not have too many objections. 3 days later, the Tianjiao competition was held as scheduled. Hundreds of thousands of geniuses from the human clan and the demon clan staged fierce battles in Tianjiao City. When the human clan invited the demon clan to join the demon-killing alliance, they had an agreement with the demon clan. Because the demon clan's strength was weaker than the human clan at that time, when the demon clan joined the demon-killing alliance, they were given 15 positions as the decision-making elders of the demon-killing alliance headquarters. However, the total number of positions for the human clan and the demon clan was fixed, while the number of positions for the human clan and the demon clan was not fixed. The forces that could compete for these positions were all determined by the results of the Tianjiao competition. However, in order to maintain the stability of the demon-killing alliance and the war against the Abyss Devil clan, the human clan had always competed for 21 positions and the demon clan had competed for 15 positions. They did not interfere with each other. However, since the human clan had completely gained the upper hand in the war against the Abyss Devil clan, the conflict between the human clan and the demon clan had become fierce again. It had reached the point where it needed to be dealt with urgently. Therefore, both the human clan and the demon clan thought that the time was right. It was time for both sides to compete. Therefore, this time, the human clan and the demon clan would compete on the same stage to determine the winner of the 36 positions. However, both sides had a tacit understanding. In the battle, unless there was a deep hatred, when the outcome was clear, at the last moment of life and death, they would admit defeat in time to avoid intensifying the conflict between the two sides. For this Tianjiao competition, Hao Ranjin sect, Lingyun Hall, Kunlun sect, and the 10 Great Holy Lands had already discussed it before. They knew that after the expansion of heaven and earth this time, the Holy Lands would definitely be unwilling to be left out and cause trouble. Therefore, this time, Hao Ranjin sect, Lingyun Hall, Kunlun sect, and the 10 Great Holy Lands had sent out 2,000 outstanding disciples to participate in the Tianjiao competition. The purpose was to let the Holy Lands recognize the reality and suppress their arrogance. Contrary to the expectations of the Holy Lands, who were full of confidence, in this Tianjiao competition, the Tianjiao competition that they thought was the most outstanding Tianjiao competition encountered strong resistance. Not only did the disciples of Tai Xian sect, Gulan sect, Ethereal sect, and the other Holy Lands fought with all their strength, but the disciples of Hao Ranjin sect, Lingyun Hall, and Kunlun sect were also ruthless and merciless. In particular, those who encountered the disciples of Hao Ranjin sect were all killed by the disciples of Haoran sect. All their ambitions and goals were in vain. After the Tianjiao competition ended, among the top 100 strongest Tianjiao competition, the disciples of Hao Ranjin sect occupied 36 positions. Among the top 10, they occupied the top 3, 5th, and 7th positions. The Kunlun sect and Lingyun Hall each occupied 11 positions. The remaining 42 positions were occupied by the Tai Xian sect, Ethereal sect, and the other Holy Lands. The remaining 26 positions were occupied by the major forces of the Human Clan and the Demon Clan. The dozen or so Holy Lands who had mocked and ridiculed the Hao Ranjin sect and the 10 Holy Lands were all defeated. They did not even make it into the top 200. This time, the strong performance of Hao Ranjin sect, Lingyun Hall, Kunlun sect, and the 10 Holy Lands shocked the forces of the Human Clan and the Demon Clan in the Central Plains. Not to mention the 10 Holy Lands, Lingyun Hall, and Kunlun sect, every force basically knew the situation of Hao Ranjin sect. It had only been passed down for a few thousand years. It was definitely very rare for it to be able to develop to such an extent. However, after the expansion of the Central Plains, the Hao Ranjin sect, which did not have any foundation, should have kept a low profile. Unexpectedly, it became even more high profile. Wasn't this attracting hatred and causing the major forces to target it? Did they really think that they could do whatever they wanted just because they had the so-called number 1 master in the world? However, if the people of Hao Ranjin sect, Lingyun Hall, Kunlun sect, and the 10 Holy Lands who had participated in breaking the seal of the Central Plains knew about this, they would really say that the number 1 master in the world could really do whatever he wanted. Without seeing Yi Tianzong's full strength, it was impossible to imagine how powerful and unpredictable he was. However, these self-righteous Holy Lands would not know about these things. Therefore, when they saw the Hao Ranjin sect's domineering behavior, it could be said that they were boiling with anger in their hearts. They could not wait to tear the people of Hao Ranjin sect into pieces. However, the prodigy competition was not a place for them to vent their anger, nor was it a place where they could behave atrociously. Otherwise, if they questioned the prodigy competition, they would be questioning the forces of the Human Clan and the Demon Clan in the Central Plains. No matter how self-righteous those Holy Lands were, they would not do such a stupid thing. Therefore, all of them suppressed their anger and waited until the selection of the decision-making elders of the Demon-Killing Alliance was confirmed. On the 3rd day after the prodigy competition, it was time to reconfirm the important positions and the right to speak in the Demon-Killing Alliance. When the Hao Ranjin sect obtained the position of decision-making elder again, the Sacred Lord of the Yuangu Holy Land directly expressed his opposition. He said, "I object to the Hao Ranjin sect obtaining the position of decision-making elder. As everyone knows, the Hao Ranjin sect has only existed for a few thousand years and has no foundation at all. The number of masters above the 4th heaven of the Saint Realm is far less than that of our Holy Lands. Every decision-making elder of the Demon-Killing Alliance General Alliance represents a powerful force with a strong foundation. This is the only way to ensure stability and victory in the war against the Demon Clan. The Hao Ranjin sect obviously does not have the foundation to support the war against the Demon Clan, so they are not qualified to take the position of decision-making elder." Chapter 150. Please recommend it and add it to your collection. After the Sacred Lord of the Yuangu Sacred Ground finished speaking, more than a dozen sacred lords from other sacred grounds expressed their approval and opposition to the Hao Ranjin sect obtaining the position of decision-making elder. For something like this to happen all of a sudden, all the major forces were somewhat startled. They were wondering if the brains of Yuan Gu Saint Master and the others had been damaged. To think that they would stand out against the righteous Orthodox sect at this moment. This was akin to sowing a death grudge with the righteous Orthodox sect. It was true that the Hao Ranjin sect did not have a strong foundation, but they had an awesome young sect leader. As long as he was given time, he would be able to fight against dozens or even hundreds of Wu Xing's sixth heaven experts when he cultivated to a higher level. Besides, they were in the same camp as the Lingyun Hall, the Kunlun sect, and the 10 Great Sacred Grounds. Needless to say, the Lingyun Hall and the Kunlun sect were super overlords, but the 10 Great Sacred Grounds were at least mid-level sacred grounds. With the support of these allies, the Hao Ranjin sect would have no problem securing the position of decision-making elder. Based on the outstanding geniuses from the Tianjiao competition, when the Hao Ranjin sect developed, it would be another super overlord at this stage. Why would they oppose it? Even if the Hao Ranjin sect did not obtain the position of decision-making elder, it would not be the Yuangu Sacred Ground's turn. They looked at the sacred lords who opposed the Hao Ranjin sect together with the sacred lord of the Yuangu Sacred Ground, as if they were fools. All the major forces, regardless of whether they were from the human race or the demon race, were waiting to watch a good show. The Lingyun Hall Master, the Kunlun sect leader, and the 10 Great Sacred Lords did not say anything because they knew that they did not need to support the Hao Ranjin sect at all. At the same time, they could use this opportunity to make an example out of the Hao Ranjin sect. They could only sigh in their hearts. Why was there always a lack of such ignorant fools? The most speechless of all were the demon clan in the Haoran mountain range, who had once again been utterly defeated by the Hao Ranjin sect a few years ago. No one knew better than them what kind of strength the Hao Ranjin sect had now. They had sent out more than 500 ninth-grade demonic beasts, which were equivalent to human martial artists in the 4th to 6th heaven of the martial saint realm. They were stronger than most of the human Holy Land. However, even with such a large lineup and a few hundred weaker ninth-grade demonic beasts, they were still defeated by the Hao Ranjin sect. If they had not shown mercy, they would have been completely wiped out. Moreover, the true super-experts of the Hao Ranjin sect had yet to make a move. The representatives of the demon clan in the Haoran mountain range looked disdainfully at the Yuangu Sacred Master and the others, who were making lousy excuses like clowns. They knew that these people were definitely finished, and the Holy Lands behind them would not last long. Sure enough, just as the Yuangu Sacred Master and the others were still venting their joy of revenge and excitedly saying that the Hao Ranjin sect was not qualified to be the decision-making elder, a voice appeared out of thin air in the ears of all the people and demonic beasts present. Do you think that the Hao Ranjin sect is not qualified to be the decision-making elder? No one knew when Yi Tianzong had appeared in the hall of the Demon-Killing Alliance. He sat on the seat of the chief of the Demon-Killing Alliance and looked down at the Yuangu Sacred Master and the others casually. There was no doubt that the voice just now had come from Yi Tianzong. The leaders of the human clan and the demon clan were shocked by the sudden appearance of Yi Tianzong. After looking at each other, they were all wondering how Yi Tianzong had appeared out of thin air under the eyes of so many people. The people in the hall were 6th Heavenly Layer Saint Realm experts from their respective factions. Of course not. The Hao Ranjin sect is not qualified to be the decision-making elder. The Yuangu Sacred Master and the others who were in a state of excitement did not notice who had spoken for a while, but they still answered immediately. However, after answering, they realized that it was Yi Tianzong who had asked. When they saw Yi Tianzong suddenly appear, the Yuangu Sacred Master, Liyuan Sacred Master, and the others were a little flustered and guilty. However, when they thought of the super-experts of the 6th heaven of the Wu Xing behind them, they immediately calmed down. They straightened their backs and looked at Yi Tianzong provocatively. The chief of the Demon-Killing Alliance hasn't been decided yet. What qualifications do you have to sit on the chief's seat? Hurry up and get down. "Oh, this guy is still in high spirits, isn't he? Does he need to be so awesome and so arrogant? Don't you guys notice that the super experts behind you that you rely on are not in good condition? Look at their flushed faces and bulging veins on their foreheads. They seem to be out of breath, but they can't make a sound or move at all. Don't you guys notice it at all? You guys are still getting high." For some reason, when the human and demon clans saw the arrogant and fearless appearance of the Yuangu Sacred Master, Li Yuan Sacred Master, and the other Sacred Masters, they found it funny. At the same time, they also felt a sense of admiration. It was really rare to see such a bold and iron-headed person. However, while they found it funny, they were also shocked by Yi Tianzong's strength. He was a 6th Heaven Saint Realm super expert, the strongest expert in the world at this stage. He was able to suppress 38 6th Heaven Saint Realm super experts of more than 10 sacred grounds to the point where they couldn't speak or move. Just how strong was Yi Tianzong? Just how strong was he? Silently thinking about Yi Tianzong's bottom line, all the human and demon clans' forces put away their contempt and disdain for the Hao Ranjin sect. Not to mention other aspects, just Yi Tianzong's unfathomable strength alone was enough to make them look down on him. Seeing the Yuangu Sacred Master and the other Sacred Masters acting like clowns, Yi Tianzong didn't have any interest in talking. He sneered indifferently and flicked out a sword chi. After the sword chi left Yi Tianzong's finger, it turned into 14 sword chi in the spacious hall and shot towards the Yuangu Sacred Master, Li Yuan Sacred Master, and the other Sacred Masters respectively. Seeing the sword chi coming towards them, the Yuangu Sacred Master and the other Sacred Masters were shocked and wanted to resist. However, the space around them seemed to be frozen and they couldn't move at all. They could only watch as the 14 sword chi pierced into their bodies. The moment the sword chi entered their bodies, it exploded and destroyed all the meridians and dantians in the bodies of the Yuangu Sacred Master, Li Yuan Sacred Master, and the other Sacred Masters. With just a flick of the sword chi, the 14 Sacred Masters became disabled. The Yuangu Sacred Master, Li Yuan Sacred Master, and the other Sacred Masters who were lying on the ground stared at Yi Tianzong in anger and fear. They spat out blood and shouted intermittently, You! Ignoring the angry stares of the Yuangu Sacred Master, Li Yuan Sacred Master, and the other Sacred Masters, Yi Tianzong suddenly activated his spiritual power. Instantly, the pressure on the 38 level 6 Wuxing super experts, who couldn't move and couldn't make a sound, were greatly increased. Their primordial spirits were severely injured. The chi in their bodies became chaotic, and they spat out blood. Their faces were twisted in pain and their eyes were bloodshot. However, under the control of Yi Tianzong, they couldn't make a sound. With a wave of his hand, the 38 severely injured level 6 Wuxing experts all flew to the ground in the middle of the hall and landed in front of the Yuangu Sacred Master, Li Yuan Sacred Master, and the other Sacred Masters. The Yuangu Sacred Master, Li Yuan Sacred Master, and the other Sacred Masters were all shocked when they saw their experts in pain and couldn't make a sound to resist. They were shocked and couldn't figure out why they had become like this. At this moment, Yi Tianzong looked at the Yuangu Sacred Master and the other Sacred Masters calmly and said, The experts you rely on are just ants in my eyes. I can destroy them with a wave of my hand. You want to replace the Hao Ranjin sect? You don't know what you're talking about. After that, Yi Tianzong stretched out his hand and flicked out a golden flame condensed by the spiritual power in his body. The golden flame flew toward the Yuangu Sacred Master and the other Sacred Masters and quickly divided into 52 smaller flames. Then, it quickly became bigger and fell on the Yuangu Sacred Master, Li Yuan Sacred Master, and those level 6 experts who couldn't move. In just a few breaths, there was nothing left except some blood stains on the ground. Everyone was shocked by Yi Tianzong's strength and mysterious means. The spacious hall of the Alliance was silent. There was no sound. Yi Tianzong glanced at the people in the hall. The feeling of being seen through made everyone shudder. Then Yi Tianzong said, "The demon-killing alliance exists to fight against the demon race. The alliance will never allow such a sinister, despicable, and unruly force to exist." This was the case for the Heavenly Spirit and Yuan Venerate Sacred Lands in the past. Today, it is the same for the 14 Sacred Lands, Yuan Gu Sacred Lands, and Li Yuan Sacred Lands. Once a rule is set, it must be followed. No one can be an exception. Now, is there anyone else who opposes the Hao Ranjin sect's decision-making elder seat? Oppose? Oppose my ass. If he dared to object again, wouldn't he be courting death? Everyone cursed silently in their hearts. On the surface, they remained silent. Even the level 6 experts who had been brought by the leaders of the various major forces didn't make any move. They had no choice. Yi Tianzong's actions just now had made them very, very aware that Yi Tianzong's strength far exceeded theirs. Killing them was simply too easy. In that case, they would just pretend to be dead. Since no one opposes, it's settled. The Hao Ranjin sect will continue to obtain the decision-making elder seat. As for the 14 Sacred Lands, Yuan Gu Sacred Lands and Li Yuan Sacred Lands, you can deal with them as you see fit. How much you can obtain in the end depends on you. After Yi Tianzong finished speaking, he disappeared from the sight of everyone in the hall. This time, no one was able to discover how Yi Tianzong had disappeared. In fact, it was very simple. Yi Tianzong had only borrowed the power of the Immortal Mansion. The Immortal Mansion was hidden in the depths of endless space and time and had the ability to conceal itself. Only a great existence above the myth realm would be able to discover it. The strongest existence in the Demon-Killing Alliance's hall was Wu Sheng's level 6. How could they possibly discover the Immortal Mansion? Yi Tianzong's appearance and disappearance were all because of the Immortal Mansion. His appearance and disappearance without leaving any trace had greatly deterred the experts of the various major forces. Chapter 151. After Yi Tianzong disappeared, there were no more twists and turns in the confirmation of the remaining positions in the Demon-Killing Alliance. Everything was carried out according to the rules. After all the procedures were completed smoothly, the major forces didn't leave. They all sat in silence. In the end, Yi Haoran stood up and said, "As for the handling of the Yuan Gu, Li Yuan, and other holy lands, our Hao Ranjin sect believes that these despicable forces who don't abide by the rules shouldn't continue to exist. If we let them go, they will definitely hold a grudge. If they can't take revenge, they will definitely collude with the demon race and betray our alliance's information and interests. Therefore, those who are below the martial master realm can stay. What do you think?" After Yi Haoran finished speaking, the Lingyun Hall Master said, "I agree with Sect Master Ye's words. A holy lord of a holy land basically represents the way the holy land does things. If a holy lord goes back on his words and ignores the rules, then we can't take any chances with the holy land he's in. All dangers must be nipped in the bud. Lingyun Hall will contribute to the Yuan Gu, Li Yuan, and other holy lands. When the time comes, how much you can get will depend on your own abilities." After the Lingyun Hall Master finished speaking, the Kunlun Sect Master and the 10 Holy Lords on the same side also expressed that they couldn't tolerate it. As soon as they spoke, the other human and demon race forces in the Central Plains also agreed to send forces to destroy the Yuan Gu, Li Yuan, and other holy lands. These 14 holy lands occupied a huge area. Now they could legitimately attack and destroy them and divide up their territories. In fact, the major forces were already tempted when Yi Tianzong spoke, but it wasn't good to say it directly. Now that the Hao Ranjin sect took the lead to destroy these holy lands, they naturally didn't want to fall behind. Didn't they hear that how much they could get would depend on their own abilities? In the following half a month, the major forces of the human and demon race sent forces to mercilessly wipe out the Yuan Gu, Li Yuan, and other holy lands. Except for those who were below the martial master realm, those who were above the martial master realm were all killed. The vast area occupied by the 14 Holy Lands was also divided up by the major forces. Even the secret realms of the 14 Holy Lands had been sealed by the various forces using secret technique. Just when the major forces of the Central Plains had neglected to pay attention to the demon race because of the matters of the ancient world, Li Yuan, and other Holy Lands, they did not know that because of the expansion of the world, the powerhouses of the Abyss demon race who were sleeping deep underground had awakened. Their overall strength had soared again, and they were carrying out a plan that could be called a fatal blow. On this day at the Big Dipper Peak, Yi Tianzong was in the martial arts lecture hall explaining to the experts of the Hao Ranjin sect and the numerous disciples about their experiences in martial Dao cultivation and some things to take note of. But today, for some reason, Yi Tianzong felt uneasy, which surprised Yi Tianzong. This was the first time Yi Tianzong had such a feeling since he reincarnated into the profound spirit world. This was not a good sign. It must mean that something big was about to happen, or had already happened. However, this feeling was very faint. Yi Tianzong was also somewhat puzzled, and did not know what the reason was. Suppressing the uneasiness in his heart, Yi Tianzong continued to explain his martial Dao experience with a normal expression. However, Yi Tianzong found that many of the sect's experts were also somewhat uneasy. And as time passed, the uneasy feeling appeared again, and turned into a bad premonition. This premonition became stronger and stronger as time passed. In the end, Yi Tianzong had no choice but to stop his explanation of martial Dao. He frowned and thought about what could cause such a strong premonition in his heart. Yi Tianzong carefully felt the increasingly strong premonition. This premonition did not come from his family, but from all directions, and even from himself. This was strange. One had to know that this was the Big Dipper Peak, the headquarters of the Hao Ranjin sect. What kind of bad premonition would be so strong that even he was in danger? According to the increasing intensity of this bad premonition, the Hao Ranjin sect was even in danger of being annihilated. But how was this possible? With him overseeing the Big Dipper Peak, even if those 6th celestial layer Wuxing experts came, thousands of them would be sent to their death. Could it be that the other forces in the Central Plains would join forces to attack the Hao Ranjin sect? That was even more impossible. If that was the case, then where would the danger come from? To be able to put him in danger of dying. Even those 7th celestial layer Wuxing experts could be suppressed with a flip of his hand. There was no danger at all. It was just that there were too many of them. If he could not fight them head-on, he could still use guerrilla tactics. Unless it was an opponent who was on par with him, or even stronger than him, then he would have this premonition of dying. But at this stage, was there an opponent who could be on par with him in the world? Yi Tianzong thought about it but could not think of anything, other than the black humanoid creature that appeared when he broke the seal of heaven and earth. Who else could make him feel danger? That's right. Only that creature could make him feel danger, but it had already disappeared. Then, only the tyrannical existence that was suppressed in the depths of the world could pose a threat to him at this stage. But he was suppressed and could not make a move. Otherwise, he would have escaped long ago. Then, he could only make a move indirectly through other means. In this way, it could only be the Abyss Devil Race. At this moment, Yi Tianzong finally thought of the Abyss Devil Race. Since the expansion of heaven and earth, the Abyss Devil Race, with their nature and goal of destroying everything, had not made any move. Obviously, this was somewhat abnormal. The Abyss Devil Race was a group of creatures that lived underground and were good at digging holes. As long as they sent one or a few saint-level experts to sneak into the territory of the Hao Ranjin sect at night, then secretly dig a hole in the depths of the ground where there were few people. Then, they would send the members of the Abyss Devil Race through the transmission channel and continue to expand the underground cave. In this way, they could secretly gather a large number of Abyss Devil Race forces underground in the territory of the Hao Ranjin sect. When they had accumulated enough strength, when the time was ripe, they would be able to catch the Hao Ranjun sect off guard. Because normally, no one would pay special attention to any movements underground. After thinking it through, Yi Tianzong felt a strong sense of foreboding. He immediately urged all the power of his spirit to investigate the situation within a radius of 30,000 miles. After finding nothing, Yi Tianzong did not feel relaxed, because Yi Tianzong's spirit could only explore up to 200 meters underground. He was powerless to go any deeper. Just as Yi Tianzong was frowning and thinking seriously, because Yi Tianzong's voice suddenly stopped, the experts and disciples of the Hao Ranjun sect who were listening to the lecture could not help but look up at Yi Tianzong in confusion. When they found that Yi Tianzong closed his eyes and frowned with a dignified expression, everyone was bewildered because they had never seen Yi Tianzong with such an expression. Although they were bewildered, no one made a sound and quietly waited for Yi Tianzong's next reaction. After thinking for a moment, Yi Tianzong opened his eyes, looked at everyone below, and said seriously, "Since today, I have had a bad premonition. At first, I didn't care, but I didn't expect this premonition to become stronger and stronger. It comes from all directions, from each and every one of you. I even feel that our Hao Ranjun sect is in danger of being destroyed. Just now, after thinking about it, I realized that only the Abyss Devil clan could have such strength and motive. They originally lived underground and sent experts to sneak into our sect at night. It's easy for them to dig underground caves in the sect to accumulate strength. I can feel a bad premonition, which means that the Abyss Devil clan should have accumulated enough strength and will soon launch an attack. However, at present we can't find out where the Abyss Devil clan is gathering, so we can only passively wait for the Abyss Devil clan to attack." After Yi Tianzong finished speaking, many experts of the Hao Ranjun sect immediately said that they were also uneasy today and had a bad premonition. Chapter 152. There were only 2 updates for today. The main reason was that it was better to read the plot in a coherent manner. It felt just right to stop here. Tomorrow there would be 3 updates. Since that's the case, listen to my orders. First, quickly inform the entire sect that the demon clan is about to attack. Also, inform the sect's disciples in the Haoran mountain range through the transmission formation. Summon them to the Tiangang Peak as soon as possible. Also, tell all the forces of the Haoran branch school to rush to the Haoran city as soon as possible. These 2 places will be the places where the final battle with the demon clan will take place. Second, quickly send people to the Tianjiao city to obtain reinforcements from the Demon Slayer Alliance. Let them gather their greatest forces for reinforcements. Third, take out all the stored materials from the 100 Herb Hall, the Formation and Tools Hall, and the sect's treasury to deal with the demon clan's attack. Fourth, report to me as soon as you discover the demon clan. The defensive formations of the Tiangang Peak and Haoran City are all activated. Now go and prepare. Yi Tianzong's expression was solemn as he issued the order and measures to prepare for war. Yes. All the members of the Hao Ranjun sect who were present received the order and carried out their respective duties. As the entire sect reported the news of the demon clan's impending attack, the Hao Ranjun sect, which had grown into a huge existence, was all mobilized in a short period of time. The hundreds of transmission formations at the foot of the Tiangang Peak and above the Tiangang Peak were all activated. They were constantly in an active state. All kinds of materials were moved out of the sect's treasury, the 100 Herb Hall, and the Formation and Tools Hall at every moment. They were placed on specific open spaces. Every Haoran disciple received various kinds of medicinal pills, explosive flame beads, clothes engraved with defensive formations, and other materials in order to be fully armed. In just a short period of 2 hours, the disciples of the Haoran mountain range appeared on the Tiangang Peak. After a little rest, they began to receive their war preparations. Currently, the Hao Ranjun sect had deployed more than 4.5 million disciples in the Haoran mountain range. All of them were elites who had fought against the demon clan and had rich combat experience. In addition to the busy Tiangang Peak, the Howran city thousands of miles away was also preparing for war. A total of more than 300 teleportation formations were constantly activated. More than 13 million disciples and experts of the martial master realm and above were rushing to the Howran city from the more than 500 Howran branch academies outside the Howran city. The large-scale operation of the Hao Ranjun sect aroused the vigilance of the demon clan in the Howran mountain range. Before they could investigate, Yi Tianzong had already sent people to inform them of the cause and effect. He hoped that they would fend for themselves. The Hao Ranjun sect was rapidly gathering all its forces to deal with the upcoming crisis. On the other side, the people of the demon-slaying alliance, who were heading to Tianjiao City, had also found Yi Howran. They informed him of the news that the demon clan was about to launch a large-scale attack on the Hao Ranjun sect. They also told him about the serious consequences that Yi Tianzong had predicted. This was no small matter. Everyone in the demon-slaying alliance was clear about Yi Tianzong's strength. It could be said that as long as Yi Tianzong wanted to run, no one could stop him. The human wave tactic was almost useless. However, even he had a premonition that he would be in danger of dying. The Hao Ranjun sect was in danger of being overthrown. This was a serious matter. This serious news shocked the entire demon-slaying alliance. Although there were no signs of the demon clan's attack, no one in the demon-slaying alliance thought that this news was fake. This was because warriors had a certain degree of premonition of danger. Not to mention, a powerhouse at Yi Tianzong's level would not joke about this kind of thing. After hearing this news, the decision-making elders of the demon-slaying alliance immediately ordered the alliance's forces to support the Hao Ranjun sect. The Hao Ranjun sect could not have any problems. This was the consensus of all the major forces in the Central Plains. First of all, the people of the Hao Ranjun sect restrained the Abyss Demon clan. Second, if Yi Tianzong's premonition was true, it meant that the Abyss Demon clan had an invincible powerhouse who could rival Yi Tianzong. This kind of powerhouse could only be dealt with by Yi Tianzong. None of them could do it. Therefore, they could not let anything happen to the Hao Ranjun sect. At the same time, the people of the major forces used the transmission formation to ask their own forces whether they had found any traces of the demon clan, whether they had a bad premonition, and so on. This made their own forces vigilant. Since the demon clan could launch a sneak attack on the Hao Ranjun sect, they could also launch a sneak attack on them. As for the 3 million Howran disciples and powerhouses who were originally in the demon-slaying alliance, they all rushed to the Hao Ranjun sect through the transmission formation under the leadership of Yi Howran. While the entire Hao Ranjun sect was busy, Yi Tianzong was not idle either. He flew straight into the sky and stood hundreds of miles above the ground. He used the golden eyes of Illusion Breaker to scan the area 100,000 miles around the Tiangang Peak of the Hao Ranjun sect. The power of the Divine Soul could not explore too deep underground, but the golden eyes of Illusion Breaker could penetrate all obstacles and see a place 10 miles below the ground. Yi Tianzong flew high in the sky and used the golden eyes of Illusion Breaker to scan the situation below the ground. Finally, after 2 hours, he found a huge cave 5 miles below the ground, 5,000 miles east of the Howran city. According to what Yi Tianzong saw, this cave was very huge. It was about 3 miles deep and more than 300 miles wide. It was like a huge beehive, and about 100 million abyss demons were gathered there. At this time, these abyss demons were controlling the movement and opening up the passages to the surface. Each of the 3 passages was 10 miles wide. According to the speed they were opening up, it would take them at most 2 days to open up the passage. After discovering this demon clan stronghold, Yi Tianzong remembered this location. He did not stop and continued to look for other underground demon clan strongholds. These 100 million abyss demons alone were not enough to destroy the Hao Ranjun sect. There must be other underground demon clan strongholds. After searching for more than 6 hours, Yi Tianzong found another stronghold. It was located 5,000 miles southwest of the Tiangang Peak and was 5 miles below the ground. This underground demon clan stronghold was much bigger than the one in the east of the Haoran city. This stronghold was thousands of miles wide and 4 miles deep. About 500 million abyss demons gathered there. Yi Tianzong also saw many abyss demons with blue flame patterns on their bodies. According to the information that Yi Tianzong had obtained from the Soul Search of the Sky Demon Temple, these abyss demons with blue flame patterns on their bodies were the elites of the 4 royal families. Their fighting strength was very strong, and they were 1 in 100 or even 1 in 1,000 among the royal families. What made Yi Tianzong most serious was that he finally found the source of the danger that made him feel that he was in danger of dying. It was 3 blue-purple existences that were almost impossible to appear among the abyss demons. The lowest-level abyss demons were basically grayish-white. As their level increased, their body color would become darker and darker until they were completely black. However, there was no such existence in the memories of the Sky Devil Palace Master that he had obtained from searching his soul. The Sky Demon Temple Master was a prince among the abyss demons. There were not many abyss demons that he did not know. When Yi Tianzong looked at the 3 blue-purple abyss demons, the 3 abyss demons seemed to have noticed him and looked around. However, they did not have the golden eyes of Illusion Breaker like Yi Tianzong, so they could not see Yi Tianzong. Fortunately, Yi Tianzong only glanced at them and did not arouse the vigilance of the 3 abyss demons underground, making them think that it was an illusion. Yi Tianzong did not investigate the origins of the 3 special abyss demons. Looking at the 500 million abyss demons underground, Yi Tianzong thought, "It seems that this place is the main force of the abyss demons attacking the Tiangang Peak. It seems that the 3 blue-purple abyss demons are right to deal with me. 500 million. They really think highly of my Hao Ranjin sect. The war with the demon-killing alliance only cost us 3 billion. Looking at the 10 huge tunnels that were being opened underground, Yi Tianzong did not act rashly. He memorized the location of the Abyss Demon's stronghold and then continued to look for other Abyss Demon's strongholds within a radius of 100,000 miles. Yi Tianzong searched all the areas within a radius of 100,000 miles but did not find any other Abyss Demon's stronghold. However, he did not find any other Abyss Demon's strongholds. With just these 2 strongholds, the 600 million Abyss Demons were enough to destroy the Hao Ranjin sect. Among the 600 million Abyss Demons, the lowest-level Abyss Demons were equivalent to the human martial master realm. Including the official disciples of the Hao Ranjin sect and the disciples of the branch schools, there were only 20 million martial masters and above. Compared to the huge number of 600 million Abyss Demons, there was a huge gap of nearly 30 times. With such a huge gap in strength and numbers, the Hao Ranjin sect would definitely not be able to hold on without the support of other forces and without using the trump cards that he had prepared in his previous life. With the 3 blue-purple Abyss Demons holding him back, even if all the defensive formations of the Tiangang Peak and Haoran City were activated, they would not be able to hold on for more than a day. Looking at the Abyss Demons, it seemed that the Abyss Demons would open up the tunnels and attack in 2 days at most. There was not much time left for the Hao Ranjin sect to prepare. Since the Abyss Demons had already prepared this plan, there was basically no need to count on the Demon-Killing Alliance's support. The Abyss Demons' plan would not leave such an obvious loophole and allow the Demon-Killing Alliance to support the Hao Ranjin sect. When the Hao Ranjin sect was attacked, the Abyss Demons from other places would definitely attack the Demon-Killing Alliance and restrain the Alliance's strength. Now, he could only place his hopes on the support of the Lingyun Hall, the Kunlun sect, and the 10 Great Holy Lands. Fortunately, the Abyss Demons did not know that Yi Tianzong had already discovered the danger in advance. The Hao Ranjin sect still had time. It was time to activate the mid-distance and long-distance teleportation formations. They had to race against time to gather all their strength. Chapter 153. Yi Tianzong quickly returned to Tiangang Peak. At this time, Yi Haoran and the powerhouses of the Hao Ranjin sect, such as Wu Xing, had already returned from the demon-killing alliance. More than 1.3 million disciples were also quickly returning through the transmission formation. Yi Tianzong told the higher-ups of the Hao Ranjin sect about the demon race's underground stronghold and the number of them. After hearing the news about Yi Tianzong, the hearts of the higher-ups of the Hao Ranjin sect became very heavy. They didn't expect that the demon race had been silent for more than 10 years to prepare such a fatal plan. They had accumulated such a powerful force under the nose of the Hao Ranjin sect and wanted to destroy the Hao Ranjin sect in one fell swoop. We don't have much hope for the demon-killing alliance's strength. Since the demon race has been planning for more than 10 years, they definitely won't let the demon-killing alliance support us. They will definitely use other means to delay the demon-killing alliance's strength and even destroy the transmission formation. Now we can only ask for help from the Lingyun Hall, Kunlun sect, and the 10 Holy Lands. Since the demon race has spent so much time and effort to plan a sneak attack on us, the possibility of the Lingyun Hall, Kunlun sect, and the 10 Holy Lands being attacked is relatively small. Let each of them send 20% of their strength. As long as we can hold on, the final victory will be ours, Yi Tianzong said. In fact, he was confident that he could get through this crisis. The big killing weapons that he had prepared in his previous life were basically not used in this life. As long as he casually took out one of them, it would be enough to destroy all of the demon race's attacks. However, Yi Tianzong didn't say it out loud. This crisis was also a test for the Hao Ranjin sect. After getting through it, they would naturally be able to develop steadily for a long time in the future. They would be able to look down on the major forces of the Central Plains. Presumably, they were able to detect the demon race's plot in advance because the will of heaven and earth had intentionally warned them. Otherwise, how could they have sensed the danger and found the source of it 1 or 2 days in advance? However, although Yi Tianzong did not intend to tell the Hao Ranjin sect's higher-ups that he was confident that they could survive the crisis, Yi Tianzong was not stingy with the necessary support. Yi Tianzong likes to plan ahead. In his previous life, when Yi Tianzong became the world's supreme expert, he specially made a lot of preparations for the possible situations he might encounter in the future. For example, this time, Yi Tianzong came to the Haoran main hall and waved his hand in front of the higher-ups of Hao Ranjin sect. Immediately, 2 piles of shining armor appeared in the open space outside the Haoran main hall, one big and one small. The aura emanating from the armor made it obvious that it was a rare treasure. Yi Tianzong had collected these armors through various forging methods in his previous life. They were suitable for martial artists below the myth realm. They abandoned most of their offensive functions and focused on strengthening their defensive functions. There were 2 piles of armor, one big and one small. The small pile of armor was for martial artists at the level of Wu Xing. The large pile of armor was for martial artists at the level of Wu Xing. The large pile of armor was for martial artists at the level of Wu Zun. It could defend against attacks at the level of Wu Xing at the level of 2 heavens. The 2 types of armor were very flexible and light when worn, and it did not affect the performance of combat power at all. It was definitely a very powerful treasure for the upcoming crisis. Imagine wearing this kind of armor. No matter what, the demon race would not be able to break through his defense, and he would be able to go on a rampage unscrupulously. What an exciting scene! Yi Tianzong had made a total of 30,000 sets of armor suitable for martial artists at the level of Wu Xing in his previous life. Now, he took out 25,000 sets of armor suitable for martial artists at the level of Wu Zun. Yi Tianzong had made 200,000 sets of armor in his previous life. Now, he took them all out and let the higher-ups of Hao Ranjin sect deal with them by themselves. he did not feel the slightest bit of heartache. Compared with these external objects, the most important thing was to keep people alive. Watching the higher-ups of Hao Ranjin's sect excitedly choose their armor and put it on, and then instructing the disciples of Haoran to move the 200,000 sets of armor to the achievement hall, Yi Tianzong smiled, turned around, and left. For Ling Xinyue, his parents, uncle, and grandparents, Yi Tianzong had naturally prepared better armor long ago. The armor that Yi Tianzong had prepared for them could not only defend against the powerful attack of Wu Xing at the level of the ninth heaven, but also had the ability to double the attack. In the upcoming battle with the demon race, it was enough to ensure their safety, and their lives would not be in danger. Naturally, he had to use better things for his own family. After distributing the armor to his parents and the others, Yi Tianzong returned to his room. After pondering for a moment, a divine talisman that exuded a faint purifying aura suddenly appeared in his hand. This was the purifying divine talisman. It was specially used to purify all the negative energies and living beings in the world. Speaking of the purifying divine talisman, one had to mention Yi Tianzong's great enemy in his previous life, the Pure Sky sect. The Pure Sky sect was a colossus that had been chasing after Yi Tianzong before he reached the peak of his cultivation in his previous life. It was the most powerful force in the world in his previous life. Yi Tianzong had encountered dozens of life and death crises because of the Pure Sky sect. The Pure Sky sect's strongest cultivation technique was the heavenly scripture of purification. The heavenly scripture of purification could purify heaven, earth, and all living beings. When cultivated to the peak, it could purify everything in the world except for the cultivator himself. It could be said that it could restrain all technique. Even the boundless mysterious scripture that Yi Tianzong had created by gathering countless geniuses from many worlds could only compete with the heavenly scripture of purification. In his previous life, the Pure Sky sect and the heavenly scripture of purification had dominated the entire world. More than 90% of the life and death crises that Yi Tianzong had encountered came from the Pure Sky sect. It was only after Yi Tianzong had cultivated to the peak of the heavenly god stage that he had gathered the power of other sects and holy lands to finally destroy the Pure Sky sect. Of course, in the end, the heavenly scripture of purification had fallen into Yi Tianzong's hands. The purifying divine talisman in Yi Tianzong's hand was a divine talisman that could purify all kinds of negative energies and living beings after Yi Tianzong had comprehended the heavenly scripture of purification in his previous life. It was specially prepared to deal with living beings below the mythical stage. However, this purifying divine talisman did not attack indiscriminately. Instead, as long as the target's aura was inputted into the purifying divine talisman in a special way, once the purifying divine talisman was used, it would automatically identify the target within a radius of 10,000 li based on the aura that had been inputted. It would then emit a purifying light to purify and destroy the enemy. Any living being below the mythical stage would not be able to resist the power of the purifying divine talisman. Once the Hao Ranjin sect lost the battle against the demon race and was in a very dangerous situation, Yi Tianzong would use the purifying divine talisman to wipe out all the demon race within a radius of 10,000 li. It would definitely wipe out the demon race. Yi Tianzong decided to use this weapon of mass destruction depending on the situation. The Hao Ranjin sect was now a colossus with the ability and strength to deal with all kinds of crises on its own. There was no need for Yi Tianzong to always think of ways to protect it. This time, the demon race's attack was just the right time to test the strength and foundation that the Hao Ranjin sect had accumulated over the years. He only needed to make a move at the most dangerous time. Just as the Haoran Orthodox sect was nervously gathering forces to deal with the upcoming large-scale attack of the demon clan, the two underground strongholds of the Haoran Orthodox sect were also making their final preparations. Once the passageway to the surface was opened, it would be time for the demon clan to attack. All the Abyss demons hated the Hao Ranjun sect to the core. They regarded the Hao Ranjun sect as the #1 enemy of the demon race. They had always wanted to get rid of it as soon as possible. Basically, the people of the Hao Ranjun sect had more or less comprehended Haoran's righteousness. When fighting against the demon race would always restrain them, making their hands and feet tied. At most, they could only display 90% of their strength. Unless the demon race was in a higher realm, or they were outnumbered, they would be defeated and killed if they encountered the people of the Hao Ranjun sect alone. What made the demon race even more eager to tear the Hao Ranjun sect into pieces was that the Hao Ranjun sect had actually publicized the production method of the fiery bead. In the Central Plains, all the major forces of the demon race and the human race could produce the fiery bead. When one of these beads exploded, all the demon race members whose strength was lower than the Marquis Wu realm of the human race would either die or be crippled. If a dozen or more of these beads were thrown out at the same time, even the Wu King realm would not dare to resist. With this killing weapon, the demon race could be said to have suffered heavy casualties. They were almost beaten into dogs by the demon-killing alliance. Compared to the advantageous situation in the western regions, the northern borderline, and the southern wasteland, the situation in the Central Plains was simply too horrible to look at. Therefore, in order to get rid of the Hao Ranjun sect, the demon race's higher-ups had been planning to destroy the Hao Ranjun sect after the expansion of the heaven and earth. This was not only the common will of the module, but also the will of the Wushang demon lord in the earth's core abyss. Chapter 154. The people he sent to Lingyun Hall, Kunlun sect, and the 10 great sacred lands had also brought back good news. Lingyun Hall, Kunlun sect, and the 10 great sacred lands had all readily agreed to support Hao Ranjun sect. They were currently gathering their forces and preparing to send reinforcements through the transmission formations. At least 3 mid-distance transmission formations had been set up between Hao Ranjun sect, Lingyun Hall, Kunlun sect, and the 10 great sacred lands. There was no need to use multiple short-distance transmission formations. They could directly reach Haoran City within Hao Ranjun sect's territory. They could transmit 600 people at a time. The Hao Ranjun sect did not treat the people who came to support Lingyun Hall, Kunlun sect, and the 10 great sacred lands unfairly. The various resources stored in the sect's treasury, 100 Herb Hall, and Weapons Formation Hall were also distributed according to the standards of Haoran's disciples. After receiving various medicinal pills, explosive flame pearls, and defensive inner armor, the people who came to support Hao Ranjun sect were still in a daze. They stared blankly at the resources they received. They didn't expect to receive such good treatment in advance even though they were prepared to die. The Hao Ranjun sect was too rich. How extravagant! When Yi Tianzong found out that the reinforcements from Lingyun Hall, Kunlun sect, and the 10 great sacred lands were on their way, he waved his hand and a small mountain of armor appeared. This time, the armor that Yi Tianzong took out were all armors that could only withstand attacks at the level of Wu Zun. There were some that he had collected and forged in his previous life, and there were also some that he had seized from other worlds. There were all kinds of different styles and functions, and there were more than 600,000 sets in total. Originally, the various defensive armors that Hao Ranjun sect had made and stored up were more than enough, so Yi Tianzong didn't take out any more of them. However, with the addition of the reinforcements from Lingyun Hall, Kunlun sect, and the 10 great sacred lands, there were not enough battle armors. These battle armors that had been seized and stored in the past were of no use to Yi Tianzong. They even took up a lot of space, so he took them all out. Now they seemed to be very useful. There were more than 1,100 teleportation formations in Haoran City and Tiangang Peak, all of which were activated at full capacity. Forces from the Haoran Mountain Range, the Haoran Branch School, the Demon Killing Alliance, the Lingyun Hall, the Kunlun sect, and the 10 great holy lands would return or come to reinforce them at every moment. Then, they would be armed with elixirs, weapons, armors, and other materials that the Hao Ranjin sect had been accumulating for nearly 300 years. Finally, they would be stationed in every corner of Haoran City and Tiangang Peak. Time passed so quickly in this tense and critical moment. In just one day, the two underground strongholds of the Abyss demon race had opened up the passageways leading to the surface. The moment the passageways were opened, a total of 600 million Abyss demons impatiently passed through the 13 huge passageways and appeared on the surface in an endless stream. After the Abyss demon stronghold in the east of Haoran City opened up the passageway and appeared on the surface, only 5 million Abyss demons gathered there. They impatiently rushed towards Haoran City under the lead of 300 saint-level Abyss demons. The mission of the 100 million Abyss demons in this stronghold was to destroy Haoran City. After completing the mission, they would assist another stronghold to attack Tiangang Peak, the headquarters of Hao Ranjin sect. The other stronghold of the Abyss demon race, which was the main force of attacking Hao Ranjin sect's Tiangang Peak, didn't act rashly. After the 10 passageways were opened up, the Abyss demons had been gathering in the surrounding open space. The first to come out were the 3 blue-violet Abyss demons who made Yi Tianzong feel dangerous. After coming out of the passageway, they flew straight into the sky and looked down at the Abyss demons gathering below. After the 3 of them came the members of the 4 royal families. They commanded the Abyss demons to quickly fly out of the passageway and gather on the surface. Only after 50 million Abyss demons had gathered did they order to set off for Tiangang Peak. The 50 million Abyss demons who came out first were at least equivalent to Marquis Wu. The distance of 10,000 miles was just a short period of time for them. Among the 50 million Abyss demons who set off first, there were 100,000 Abyss demons who were equivalent to Wu Sheng. However, the total number of Wu Sheng-level Abyss demons in the entire Hao Ranjin sect was less than 9,000. There was a huge gap of more than 10 times. In order to eliminate the Hao Ranjin sect, the Abyss demons could be said to have put in a lot of determination and strength, not to mention that more than 500 million Abyss demons were still rushing over. They simply wouldn't stop until the Hao Ranjin sect was destroyed. The 50 million Abyss demons flew straight to Tiangang Peak in the sky. In just over 2 hours they had flown 9,000 miles. They could already feel the vast yang aura of Tiangang Peak very clearly. Because of the expansion of the world several times, Tiangang Peak had reached a height of 100,000 feet, enough to accommodate 100 million people. The huge mountain peak was vast and lofty, reaching straight into the sky. Because of the Hao Ranjin sect, the entire Tiangang Peak was filled with the majestic yang aura of Haoran. The mountain guarding formation, as well as all kinds of maze formations, illusion formations, trap formations, spirit gathering formations, defensive formations, and killing formations, which were set up by Yi Tianzong on Tiangang Peak earlier, had also undergone wonderful changes because of the continuous expansion of heaven and earth and absorbed the mysterious opportunities of creation. All the formations combined together as if they were made by nature, forming a set of powerful and unfathomable super formations. Fortunately, Yi Tianzong was very familiar with the formations he arranged. After studying them for a while, he figured out the mysteries of the formations after the changes, and regained control of the protective formation. The protective formation, which was fully activated, was enough to withstand thousands of continuous attacks from 108th Heavenly Layer Wu Xing experts just by its defensive function. Coupled with various trap formations, maze formations, illusion formations, and killing formations complementing each other, it was enough to withstand the continuous attacks of the 500 million devils for a long time. When the 50 million devils were about to reach Tiangang Peak, Yi Tianzong had already discovered this huge number of devils. His vast divine soul power swept over them, and in a moment, he had a clear understanding of the strength of these 50 million devils. At the same time, he also discovered the 3 purple-blue devils flying high in the sky. The protective formation on Tiangang Peak had been fully activated. When the enemy was still 1,000 miles away, Yi Tianzong stepped out of the protective formation with the Hao Ranjin sect, the Lingyun Hall, the Kunlun sect, the 10 Holy Lands, and other experts at the level of Wu Xing and Wu Zun, who had come to welcome the arrival of the devils. After the two sides met, they began to fight without any words. Ling Xinyue, Yi Haoran, and other super experts wore battle armors, and their attacks were very fierce. The number of experts at the level of Wu Xing from the Hao Ranjin sect, the Lingyun Hall, the Kunlun sect, and the 10 Holy Lands reached 23,000, and the number of experts at the level of Wu Zun reached 500,000. Although the experts at the level of Wu Xing were wearing battle armors with super high defense provided by Yi Tianzong, they didn't dare to be careless in the face of 100,000 saint-level devils. Even if these devils couldn't break the defense of the battle armors, the power of the recoil couldn't be underestimated. Everyone was fighting at least 1 against 4. If they didn't fight with all their might, not only would it be very embarrassing to be beaten like a sandbag, but the continuous recoil would also cause injuries or even death if it exceeded the limit of what they could bear. There were also more than 2 million experts at the level of Wu Zun, which were left to the Hao Ranjin sect, the Lingyun Hall, the Kunlun sect, and the 10 Holy Lands to deal with. The remaining 47 million experts attacked Tiangang Peak, densely surrounding it. Countless attacks landed on the mountain-protecting array of Tiangang Peak, causing small ripples. Yi Tianzong directly faced the 3 blue-violet devils that gave him an extremely dangerous feeling. Standing thousands of li high in the sky, Yi Tianzong looked at the 3 devils whose auras were incomparably tyrannical, and asked, "Who are you? There shouldn't be any real experts like you in the devil race, right?" One of the 3 devils with 3 eyes said, "We are the emissaries of the Wushang Demon Lord. You can call us devil emissaries. This time, we came to carry out the will of the Wushang Demon Lord to eliminate you, an unstable factor that obstructs the devil race from destroying the world." His words revealed incomparable confidence and matter-of-factly, directly sentencing Yi Tianzong to death. Humph! What big words! Today, none of you can escape, all of you will die. Yi Tianzong sneered, and directly attacked the 3 devil emissaries. His first attack was the incomparably tyrannical world-suppressing fist. In an instant, he threw out 3 punches, and 3 tyrannical golden fist seals locked onto the 3 devil emissaries and suppressed them. Since the last time he broke the seal of heaven and earth, Yi Tianzong had a great battle with the black humanoid creature. In the end, with the help of the intense battle, he comprehended more of the profound mysteries of the martial Tao, and peeped into the mysteries of higher realms. The world-suppressing fist, heaven-covering palm, God-shattering finger, and space-rending claw were all deduced by Yi Tianzong to an even more profound level. His own potential was also unearthed, and his strength was once again increased by another level. Now that he used the most tyrannical and ferocious world-suppressing fist, he truly had an unrivaled and invincible demeanor that could suppress heaven and earth. Chapter 155. Originally, I wanted to try my best not to break the chapter, but after writing for a while, I still ended up breaking the chapter. Today I have written more than 8,000 words. My mind is a bit muddled. I can only continue writing tomorrow. Please support me. Thank you. Facing Yi Tianzong's tyrannical fist seal, the 3 demon envoys didn't panic at all. They all waved their bluish-purple arms, and struck out a dark demonic fist seal towards the incoming golden fist seal. The 3 black demonic fists clashed against the 3 golden holy fists. The 2 completely different types of energy collided. In an instant, an earth-shattering explosion of energy was produced. The origin chi within a radius of several dozen miles directly went berserk, forming a turbulent flow of origin chi that wreaked havoc in the vast sky. After striking out with their demonic fists, the 3 demon envoys took the initiative to attack. They stood several hundred meters apart, forming a special formation with each other. Their auras merged into one, forming a very powerful binding force field that surrounded Yi Tianzong in the middle. Then, the 3 demon envoys used the same move to attack Yi Tianzong. In an instant, hundreds and thousands of demonic blades condensed from dark demonic energy shot towards Yi Tianzong. Yi Tianzong, who was surrounded and bound in the middle, also used the Qianquan force field at the first moment, offsetting the powerful binding on him within a 30-feet radius. Then, he launched a fierce counterattack against the 3 demon envoys. He waved his arms, and similarly, hundreds and thousands of pure mana condensed into sword chi, clashing with the demon blades that came at him head-on. The clanging sound produced by the collision of real weapons sounded. The invincible Howren's golden sword chi and the dark demonic blades continued to resist each other. Violent energy swept through the sky for several hundred miles. If this continued, he would be too passive. He had to take the initiative. Yi Tianzong, who seemed to be not at a disadvantage against the 3 demon envoys, understood that if this continued, it would be very disadvantageous for him. The spiritual energy in his body would be consumed very quickly. But because the 3 demon envoys had formed a tripartite formation, they were complementing each other. They only consumed 1/3 of his strength. He had to get out of this situation. While Yi Tianzong and the 3 demon envoys were in a stalemate, the battle below them was fiercely raging. While the Tiangang Peak was being attacked by the demon clan, the Howren city, which was thousands of miles away, was also being attacked by over 10 million demon clan. In Howren city, more than 10,000 martial sage realm experts and more than 300,000 martial venerable realm experts were engaged in a fierce battle with the devil clan. The battle in Howren city was overseen by Yi Haoyun, Zi Yunxian, and Li Qingshi. Relying on their invincible armors, the 3 of them exerted their greatest advantage on the battlefield. Facing the demon clan's saint-level experts, they used the Aurora Instantaneous Shadow, and adopted the guerrilla warfare strategy. They never stayed in one place to avoid being besieged by multiple demon clans' saint-level experts. Not long after the battle began, they had killed and severely injured dozens of demon clans' saint-level experts who were equivalent to Wu Xing's 6th heavenly layer. In the battlefield in Howren City and the battlefield in the Tiangang Peak, there were more than 130,000 Wu Xing level experts and more than 2.8 million Wu Zun level experts. In the vast three-dimensional space of thousands of miles, a brutal battle of life and death was carried out. On the vast battlefield, countless blade beams, sword beams, fist silhouettes, palm silhouettes, dragon and tiger silhouettes, and all kinds of attacks were clashing against each other. The aftershocks were vast and chaotic, shaking the sky. Because of the chaotic collisions of energy, the natural energies in the world were stirred up, affecting the vast space within a radius of 150,000 miles. As the battle continued, a large number of demon clans Wu Zun and Wu Xing level experts were injured and fell to the ground like raindrops. While the fierce battle was going on in the sky, the city of Howren on the ground had already activated its defensive formation. The entire city within 1,000 miles of Howren City was covered by a huge defensive formation, which formed a layer of golden light cover over the sky above the city of Howren, preventing the demon clan's experts below the level of Wu Zun from entering the city. When the demon clan's experts continuously arrived to attack the defensive formation, those over 600,000 King Wu and Marquis level experts in Howren City stepped out of the city of Howren in their defensive armors, took out handfuls of fiery beads from their storage bags, and threw them at the demon clan's attackers. More than 10 fiery beads were detonated at the same time, resulting in a powerful explosion. Immediately, all the demon clan's experts within a radius of several miles were blown to smithereens. Over 600,000 King Wu and Marquis Wu level experts constantly detonated their fiery beads at the demon clan's attackers. Countless demon clan's experts were killed or maimed, But this did not deter the Demon Clan's experts at all. It seemed that the Demon Clan's experts were still advancing dauntlessly, wave after wave. They swarmed towards the city of Howran, covering the sky and covering the earth. Countless Demon Clan's experts fearlessly attacked the 600,000-plus King Wu and Marquis Wu from all directions, interrupting their detonation of their fiery beads. In this regard, those experts in Howran's city of King Wu and Marquis Wu, who were at a disadvantage in the battle against the Demon Clan, quickly hid in the city of Howran when they saw that the situation was not good. Then, they would find an opportunity to go out of the city and detonate their fiery beads again. Those experts who did not have time to hide in the city of Howran and were surrounded by the Demon Clan's experts detonated all their fiery beads and perished together with the Demon Clan. On the other side, the Tiangang Peak, which was besieged by over 47 million King Wu and Marquis Wu level Demon Clan's experts, also broke out in an even more tragic battle. Although these tens of millions of Demon Clan's experts could not break through the mountain-guarding formation of the Tiangang Peak, the experts of the Hao Ranjin sect could not bear to hide in their shells like cowards. Immediately, in addition to those who were protecting and maintaining the mountain-guarding formation, those over 3 million experts in King Wu and Marquis Wu who had gathered on the Tiangang Peak all put on their armors and stepped out of the mountain-guarding formation. Then, they took out a handful of blowing flame beads from their storage bag. The explosive power of the blowing flame beads was so great that within a radius of 3 miles, anyone below the level of King Wu would be killed without a doubt. Even experts of the level of King Wu would be smashed into smithereens if they were hit head-on. Over 3 million experts in King Wu and Marquis Wu threw out blowing flame beads one after another at the Demon Clan's experts. Since there were Demon Clan's experts in the Hao Ranjin sect, they did not care which direction they were in. As long as there were Demon Clan's experts in the Hao Ranjin sect, they would throw blowing flame beads in that direction. Boom, boom, boom. Countless blowing flame beads exploded. Ever since the experts in the Hall of Formation and Tools of the Hao Ranjin sect had successfully developed the blowing flame beads, they had never used them publicly against the Demon Clan. Therefore, the outside world did not know that the Hao Ranjin sect had such a powerful weapon. They had been constantly refining and storing blowing flame bead. By now, they had stored over 50 million blowing flame bead. The Demon Clan's experts who had never been bombarded by the blowing flame beads thought that the experts in the Hao Ranjin sect were throwing out blowing flame bead. However, when they saw that the experts in the Hao Ranjin sect only threw out one blowing flame bead each time, they became vigilant and prepared to defend themselves. However, they did not take it seriously. As long as there were not dozens of blowing flame beads exploding at the same time, they would not have any effect on the experts of the level of Marquis Wu and King Wu. However, when the blowing flame beads were about to explode, the sudden sense of crisis in their hearts made them realize that something was wrong. However, it was too late. As a result, the Demon Clan suffered a tragedy. The experts in the Hao Ranjin sect continuously threw out more than 10 million blowing flame bead. In the earth-shattering explosion, apart from the Demon Clan who were far away, highly vigilant, or quick to dodge, a quarter of the 47 million Demon Clan experts of the level of King Wu and Marquis Wu were directly blown to smithereens. A quarter of them were injured to varying degrees. Only about half of the Demon Clan's experts were safe and sound. Due to one careless mistake, the Demon Clan lost more than a quarter of their strength. This made the Demon Clan, who had thought that victory was within their grasp, almost go crazy with anger. They already hated the Hao Ranjin sect to the core. Now, they could not wait to swallow the people of the Hao Ranjin sect alive. The furious Demon Clan hurriedly spread out and stayed away from each other. Then, they attacked the experts of the Hao Ranjin sect from a distance. However, what made them so angry was that after the experts of the Hao Ranjin sect blew them up, they actually hid in the protective formation of the Tiangang Peak, leaving them helpless. What they did not know was that after the experts of the Hao Ranjun sect returned to the protective formation, they knew that it was unrealistic to use the blowing flame beads to wipe out the demon clan's forces on a large scale. The remaining blowing flame beads had to be saved to deal with the hundreds of millions of demon clan experts below the level of Marquis Wu. Therefore, they were ready to fight the experts of the demon clan in close combat. At the same time, 10 disciples of the Haoran sect carried storage bags containing 500,000 blowing flame beads to the Haoran city through the transmission formation. They handed over the 500,000 blowing flame beads to the higher-ups of the Hao Ranjun sect in the Haoran city. The higher-ups of the Hao Ranjun sect directly took out 10,000 blowing flame beads and distributed them to 10,000 experts of the Wu King sect. Then, they let them throw the blowing flame beads at the demon clan outside. Most of the demon clan experts who attacked the Haoran city were at the level of Wu Zongjing or Wu Ling. They were different from the experts of the demon clan who attacked the Tiangang Peak. After a while, a series of earth-shattering explosions sounded. The demon clan who attacked the Haoran city were caught off guard and lost more than 80% of their forces. Of the more than 10 million abyss demons who attacked the Haoran city, more than 7 million disappeared at once. Many of them were left with different kinds of injuries, and less than 1 million of them were intact. This completely interrupted the frenzied attacks of the devil race. When the remaining millions of devil race saw that so many of their kind had been annihilated, they were immediately terrified. They all stopped their attacks and retreated 5 kilometers away, waiting for the arrival of the reinforcements. The situation of the battlefield on the ground had little influence on the battlefield in the sky. The demon race was cruel and merciless. Their goal was to destroy all living things. They were also cruel and merciless to their own kind. The low-level demon race on the ground was dispensable to the powerhouses of the demon race, even though they had also been promoted from the weak. On the battlefield in the sky, the experts at the level of Wu Zun and Wu Xing of the Hao Ranjun sect all wore defensive armors and fought against the demon clan alone. Because of the defensive armors, the numerous experts of the demon clan could not do anything to the experts of the Hao Ranjun sect for the time being. However, they basically surrounded the experts of the Hao Ranjun sect and attacked them from a distance. In this regard, the experts of the Hao Ranjun sect could not do anything to the experts of the demon clan. They could only passively deal with the attacks of the demon clan. Chapter 156. Sigh, this battle scene is really difficult to write. The author is really not good at writing this kind of plot. I changed it back and forth several times. If it is not written well, please forgive me. High up in the sky, the battle between Yi Tianzong and the 3 devil envoys took a new turn. The 3 blue-purple devil envoys were only slightly weaker than Yi Tianzong individually. However, when the 3 of them joined forces, they were stronger than Yi Tianzong. Originally, Yi Tianzong was trapped in the middle of the 3 devil envoys. He could only passively resist the devil envoys. The Fa in his body was being consumed very quickly. If this continued for a long time, he would definitely fall into a very disadvantageous situation. While circulating his Fa to condense sword chi to resist the devil blades released by the 3 devil envoys, Yi Tianzong tried to use his divine sense to attack the 3 devil envoys. However, to his surprise, the divine sense attacks that had always been successful in the past were actually ineffective. When attacking the primordial spirit of the 3 devil envoys, it seemed to hit a very tough barrier. The sharp sword chi condensed from divine sense was actually unable to penetrate the barrier. Moreover, Yi Tianzong also felt a vaguely familiar aura from the barrier. It was the aura from the black humanoid creature when he broke the seal of heaven and earth. Sure enough, I was wondering how could there suddenly be 3 powerhouses that were similar to me. It turned out that everything was the doing of that existence that was suppressed in the depths of the world. It was unknown what kind of method had been used to forcibly create these 3 devil envoys. I was wondering why I could feel that the power of these 3 devil envoys was somewhat uncoordinated. Yi Tianzong thought in his heart after feeling that familiar aura. Since divine sense attacks were also ineffective, it seemed that he could only use his ultimate move to change this passive situation. Yi Tianzong suddenly released a violent sword chi attack. Then, taking advantage of the gap, he called out the boundless godly sword hidden in his body. The boundless godly sword was a weapon that Yi Tianzong had used the blood-refining technique to forge when he first traveled through worlds. Ever since it appeared, it had accompanied Yi Tianzong through many worlds. As Yi Tianzong's cultivation level continued to rise, the boundless divine sword had also fused with various spiritual materials, divine materials, and immortal metals from many different worlds. In the end, when Yi Tianzong reached the peak of his cultivation level in his previous life, the boundless divine sword had also become a peak-level heavenly divine artifact. It was only one step away from becoming a God King artifact. In Yi Tianzong's martial arts, he was most proficient in the way of the sword. Within the heavenly expanse mysterious scripture, there was a sword technique that Yi Tianzong had created himself. It was called the Heavenly Expanse Sword Technique, and when used together with the Heavenly Expanse Legendary Sword, its power was earth-shattering, and it was invincible. This was Yi Tianzong's strongest attack technique. It was also the technique that Yi Tianzong relied on in his previous life to dominate the world and suppress the ancient times. Currently, Yi Tianzong had created a total of 8 styles of the Heavenly Expanse Sword Technique. The first style, 10,000 feet cold gleam. The second style, sword sweeping demons. The third style, light of the sun. The fourth style, Howren's everlasting. The fifth style, flying immortal from beyond the heavens. The sixth style, 10,000 swords return to ruin. With the Heavenly Expanse legendary sword in his hand, Yi Tianzong's body exploded with an invincible supreme aura. When the 3 demon envoys saw the legendary sword in Yi Tianzong's hand, their faces turned serious. With the legendary sword in his hand, Yi Tianzong gave them a fatal threat. Yi Tianzong looked at the 3 demon envoys indifferently. He snorted coldly and said, "You guys are able to make me use the Heavenly Expanse sword technique. It is indeed beyond my expectations. Next is the real battle. I hope you guys don't die too quickly." After he finished speaking, Yi Tianzong's aura exploded rapidly. His entire person was like a supreme legendary sword that could split the world. It was extremely sharp and nothing could stop it. After using the Heavenly Expanse sword technique, Yi Tianzong's strength had completely stepped into another realm. It was far beyond his normal combat strength. Yi Tianzong waved the Heavenly Expanse legendary sword and used the first style of the Heavenly Expanse legendary sword 10,000 feet cold gleam. In an instant, 30% of the magic power in his body was consumed. Then, in an area of 10 miles in circumference, 10,000 10-zhang long sword lights that were extremely sharp and condensed appeared. They were like 10,000 real legendary swords, flashing with a bone-chilling sharpness. Slash! Yi Tianzong roared. 10,000 extremely sharp sword lights that were 10,000 feet long slashed towards the 3 demon envoys with an unparalleled killing intent that could destroy the world. Facing the 10,000 sharp sword lights that were about to kill them, the 3 demon envoys let out a shrill cry. They instantly crossed the distance of several hundred meters and stood back to back. Their auras were connected as one. They crazily mobilized the power in their bodies and unleashed countless space-piercing demonic blades to resist the 10,000 sharp sword light. Every one of those extremely sharp sword lights slashed through the space. They were almost no different from real legendary weapons. They clashed with the space-piercing demonic blades unleashed by the 3 demon envoys. However, it was obvious that Yi Tianzong's 10,000 feet cold gleam had the upper hand in this battle. The extremely sharp sword lights that could slash through anything cut through the defensive barrier formed by the space-piercing demonic blades like breaking rotten wood, and continued to slash towards the 3 demon envoys. Seeing the 10,000 sharp sword lights that were filled with killing intent break through the defensive barrier formed by the space-piercing demonic blades, the 3 demon envoys let out a shrill cry at the same time. Dark and deep demonic chi burst out from their bodies. Then, the 3 of them simultaneously spat out a mouthful of blood. Using the blood as a medium, the 3 demon envoys crazily performed their secret magic. In an instant, they condensed into a black hexagonal crystal that was about 30 feet long, wrapping the 3 demon envoys inside. Just as the 3 demon envoys were trying their best to resist Yi Tianzong's sword technique, Yi Tianzong's entire body was emitting a vast and righteous Haoran righteous Tao concept. He had already connected with the heaven and earth Haoran righteous Qi that was high up in the sky. Currently, Yi Tianzong's cultivation level was still a little low. Just performing the first style of the boundless sword technique had already consumed 30% of the magic power in his body. Yi Tianzong could not bear it anymore. If he were to perform the second style, the magic power in his body would probably be depleted. Therefore, Yi Tianzong simply drew upon the heaven and earth Haoran righteous Qi to help him. When he was drawing upon the heaven and earth Haoran righteous Qi, Yi Tianzong was actually in a very dangerous situation. At this time, Yi Tianzong could not make any moves. Once an enemy attacked Yi Tianzong, he could only passively defend. As for the others, Yi Tianzong did not care at all. They could not break through the protective light shield formed by his magic power. However, it was different for the 3 demon envoys. Their strength was about the same as his. If they could not fight back, he would probably die. Now, because of Yi Tianzong's attack, the 3 demon envoys were trying their best to protect themselves. They could no longer care about Yi Tianzong. Seizing this opportunity, Yi Tianzong drew upon the heaven and earth Haoran righteous Qi. From the distant horizon, an incomparably vast golden Milky Way poured down towards Yi Tianzong. The majestic golden Milky Way was filled with the grand yang concept of Haoran righteous. Wherever it passed, it cleansed all the dark and evil aura. After receiving the blessing of the Haoran righteous Qi, Yi Tianzong was like a supreme god wearing golden armor, representing the justice of heaven and earth. Looking at the other side, the 3 demon envoys who were struggling to resist the attack of the 10,000 sword Qi and their aura weakened, Yi Tianzong directly performed the 4th style of the boundless sword technique, Haoran everlasting. The 4th style of the boundless sword technique, Haoran everlasting, was created by Yi Tianzong based on his own concept of Haoran righteous Qi. Once it was performed, the righteous Qi concept in his heart would be stimulated. No matter which world it was, as long as the Haoran righteous Qi existed, it would be strengthened. With the majestic and invincible power of Yang, it would crush the enemy. At this moment, Yi Tianzong was supported by the heaven and earth Haoran righteous Qi. When he performed the Haoran everlasting, it would definitely be twice the result with half the effort. Its power would increase exponentially, and it would definitely be able to eliminate the 3 demon envoys in one fell swoop. Looking at the 3 demon envoys, Yi Tianzong's eyes flashed with ruthlessness. These 3 demon envoys were on par with him, and they were definitely very difficult opponents. Unfortunately, now was not the right time. The battle situation of the Hao Ranjin sect below was not very good. Otherwise, if it was any other time, at any other place, he would definitely have a good fight with these 3 demon envoys. Without wasting any time, Yi Tianzong directly performed the Haoran everlasting. The boundless Haoran righteous Qi in the world was stimulated by the Haoran everlasting that Yi Tianzong performed. In front of Yi Tianzong, according to a specific method, it condensed into a golden flame that was compressed to the extreme. This golden flame was condensed from the boundless Haoran righteous Qi. After the golden flame appeared, the space within a radius of 100 miles was filled with the concept of Haoran righteous Qi. Distortions appeared in the space around the flame. After the 3 demon envoys had consumed 60% of their strength and paid the price of minor injuries, they struggled to resist Yi Tianzong's 10,000 ultimate sword rays. Before they could catch their breath, they saw Yi Tianzong's body shining with golden light, and the golden flame in front of Yi Tianzong that could even burn the space. After seeing the golden flame that was 30 feet in size, the three demon envoys understood that it was something that could absolutely kill them. It completely restrained them, and there was no way they could resist it. Knowing that they had already lost today, and could not achieve their goal, the three demon envoys made a choice without any hesitation. They turned around and fled. Chapter 157. There are only 2 chapters left for today. The author does not have a stockpile of manuscripts, so he will publish as much as he writes. The description of today's battle scene really took the author a lot of effort to write. If you don't like it, you are welcome to give your opinions. The author will slowly improve in the future. But since Yi Tianzong had prepared a big move, how could he allow these 3 demon envoys who almost defeated him to escape? He had already prepared for them to escape. The moment the 3 demon envoys were about to escape, Yi Tianzong had already displayed the Qian Kuan force field. With the support of Howren's morality, Yi Tianzong divided his attention into 2. On one hand, he fully activated the Qian Kuan force field, binding the 3 demon envoys and making it difficult for them to move. On the other hand, Howren's everlasting had already reached the end. After another second, Howren's everlasting was completed. The 3 demon envoys who were bound by the Qian Kuan force field also desperately urged the power in their bodies to use secret techniques to break free from the Qian Kuan force field. Seeing that they were about to break free, it was already too late. Yi Tianzong controlled the golden flames condensed from Howren's morality and flew towards the 3 demon envoys. The 3 demon envoys had just broken free from the Qian Kuan force field. Before they could even breathe a sigh of relief, a crisis that made them despair arrived. The golden flames quickly flew behind the 3 demon envoys. Under Yi Tianzong's indifferent gaze, they instantly exploded into a sea of golden flames that quickly spread over a radius of 10 miles. The moment the golden flames exploded, the 3 demon envoys who were close by bore the brunt of it. Howren's morality restrained the dark and evil energy between heaven and earth. The moment the golden flames condensed from Howren's morality exploded, the 3 demon envoys were submerged in the torrent of Howren's morality. In the sea of flames of Howren's morality, the 3 demon envoys struggled several times before finally cursing Yi Tianzong unwillingly and disappearing from the world. The golden Howren righteous fire sea spread across the sky for a radius of 10 miles. It lasted for a quarter of an hour before it gradually dissipated. After the sea of fire dissipated, 3 drops of black demonic blood containing extreme dark and gloomy power appeared in the sky. The black demonic blood contained a trace of indestructible will. Even after being burned in the sea of fire formed by Howren's morality for a quarter of an hour, it remained unharmed. Looking at the 3 drops of demon blood in the air, Yi Tianzong could feel the inextinguishable will and extreme strength that surpassed any energy in the world. After thinking for a moment, Yi Tianzong guessed that these 3 drops of demon blood should be the demon blood of the existence suppressed in the depths of this world. No wonder my soul attack was ineffective. It seems like you really put in a lot of effort. Your true body is being suppressed, but you actually used your own blood to create 3 demon envoys to kill me, Yi Tianzong. Should I feel honored? Yi Tianzong sneered in his heart and did not continue to think about these things. He would think about it later. With a wave of his hand, he stored the 3 drops of demon blood in the immortal mansion. Yi Tianzong maintained the state of activating the Howren Heavenly River as he turned around and headed toward the vast battlefield below. Accompanied by the mighty and surging golden Heavenly River, Yi Tianzong appeared in the vast battlefield with a dazzling momentum. Wearing golden armor, holding a golden divine sword, and shining with a dazzling golden light, Yi Tianzong appeared on the battlefield like a savior from outer space. Because of Yi Tianzong's appearance, the vast and majestic Yang divine aura filled the sky for a radius of 1,000 miles. The dark clouds that originally covered tens of thousands of miles above Hao Ranjin Sek's Tiangang Peak were instantly washed away by the mighty Haoran Heavenly River and dissipated for thousands of miles. The sunlight that represented hope shone through the sky for thousands of miles and shone on the earth. Yi Tianzong's appearance in such a flashy and dazzling manner attracted the attention of both the human race and the demon race within a radius of 10,000 miles. Their reactions to this were different. The martial artists of Hao Ranjin sect were naturally delighted and in a state of worship. Originally, they were at a disadvantage because they were dealing with enemies several times their number. However, when they saw Yi Tianzong's powerful and dazzling appearance, their spirits were immediately lifted. Their injured and tired bodies seemed to have eaten a panacea and were filled with strength again. On the other hand, the originally high morale of the Abyss demon race's side instantly fell by a notch. In particular, the higher-ups of the demon race's 4 royal clans felt their hearts sink to the bottom. Yi Tianzong's appearance in such a high-profile manner indicated that the 3 demon envoys that they relied on had failed, or were even finished. No one could understand the origin and terror of the 3 demon envoys better than them. The 3 demon envoys were the Wushang demon ancestor that lived in the depths of the Earth's core. They were the most stunning and monstrous geniuses of the demon race. The strength of each of the demon envoys was simply unimaginable. Just one of them alone was enough to beat up thousands of 6th heavenly layer saint-level experts of the demon race. With the 3 demon envoys together and the tripartite formation that could gather their strength, what kind of existence could resist them? Any higher-ups of the demon race, who had seen the strength of the demon envoys, believed that no one could stop the 3 demon envoys. Any human expert would die without a burial place in front of the 3 demon envoys. This was also the reason why they were so confident in attacking Hao Ranjin sect, even though they knew that Yi Tianzong's strength was extremely terrifying. At the beginning, it was just as they had expected. Under normal circumstances, even if Yi Tianzong had already transcended the shackles of his previous life, he would still be suppressed by the 3 demon envoys. It was just that they and the 3 demon envoys never thought that Yi Tianzong actually had a trump card up his sleeve. As soon as the Boundless Divine Sword and the Boundless Sword technique were used, the 3 demon envoys were eliminated cleanly. Seeing Yi Tianzong appear on the battlefield unscathed, and the 3 demon envoys were nowhere to be seen, the higher-ups of the demon race's 4 royal clans had a very bad premonition in their hearts. This assassination mission that they had planned for more than 10 years was probably going to fail. Who could stop a super expert that even the 3 demon envoys could not do anything to? After Yi Tianzong appeared on the battlefield, he looked at the warriors of Hao Ranjin sect who were at a disadvantage. Without any delay, Yi Tianzong used the power of Haoran's righteous qi of heaven and earth to display the second style of the Boundless Sword technique, Sword Sweeping Demons. Yi Tianzong raised the Boundless Divine Sword up high, and the aura of his whole body exploded. Endless Haoran's righteous qi was injected into the Boundless Divine Sword. Stop him! The higher-ups of the demon race's royal clans all shouted and summoned the saint-level experts to fly towards Yi Tianzong. From afar, they started to attack Yi Tianzong, wanting to stop Yi Tianzong from continuing his attack. When they saw Yi Tianzong's solemn look and rising aura, they knew that he was preparing a big move. Moreover, it was not an ordinary big move. It would definitely be able to cause the demon race to suffer heavy casualties. As for those demon race experts who were attacking him, although there were hundreds of them and they were still increasing, Yi Tianzong did not care. Not to mention whether they could break through the protective golden light formed by Haoran's righteous qi. Even if they could, so what? This group of demon race experts were not the same as the 3 demon envoys. A wave of divine soul attack would definitely let them know what it meant to be overestimated. Yi Tianzong launched a wave of divine soul attack at those demon race experts who were attacking him. As a result, all the demon race experts who were close to Yi Tianzong screamed and rolled on the ground with their hands on their heads. After absorbing enough of Howren's righteous qi, a golden sword pillar with a diameter of 10 feet shot up into the sky from the boundless godly sword. Then, the golden sword pillar exploded in a flash, turning into a sword curtain formed by endless golden sword qis that covered an area of tens of miles. Endless golden sword qis condensed from Howren's righteous qi filled the sky within tens of miles. They revolved around Yi Tianzong, who was holding the boundless godly sword up high, at an extremely fast speed. Go! After Yi Tianzong gave the order, innumerable sharp sword qis of Howren's righteous qi pierced towards all the demon race experts within thousands of miles. All the saint and venerable level demon race experts within thousands of miles were drowned by Howren's righteous qi. Facing the direct attack of Howren's righteous qi, all the demon race experts who were attacked by Howren's righteous qi desperately used all their offensive and defensive means to resist. The dark and evil demon race clashed with the righteous qi of Howren's righteous qi. After a short but fierce battle, which felt like a year to the demon race, over 10,000 saint and venerable level demon race experts who were attacked by Howren's righteous qi were killed. However, those who survived did not feel happy at all. Although they survived the attack of Howren's righteous qi, they had consumed a great deal of their strength. Basically, they had all suffered injuries of varying degrees. At this moment, those warriors of Hao Ranjin's sect, who had been suppressed by Yi Tianzong earlier, rose up and seized this great opportunity to launch a series of fierce attacks on those demon race experts who had besieged Yi Tianzong earlier. Earlier, Yi Tianzong's enemies were outnumbered, so they could only take the beating passively. But now, because of Yi Tianzong's attacks, all the demon race experts had become weak, and their overall strength had been greatly reduced. If they didn't take revenge now, when would they? Relying on the high defensive power of their armors, those warriors of Hao Ranjin's sect, who had risen up, began cursing those demon race experts in high spirits. Chapter 158. After scanning the battlefield with his divine soul, Yi Tianzong once again raised the boundless divine sword, and with the power of Howren's righteous energy, he performed the sword sweeping all demons once again. When those demons saw Yi Tianzong perform the sword technique again, they were so shocked that they immediately turned around and tried to flee from the battlefield, ignoring their human opponents. However, they were all held back by the warriors of Hao Ranjin's sect, and less than a quarter of them were lucky enough to escape from the battlefield. The same scene happened again. The torrent of Howren's sword energy completely drowned those demons who failed to escape within a radius of several thousand miles. This time, none of the greatly weakened demon experts survived, as they were all killed by Howren's sword energy. After the enemies were wiped out, the warriors of Hao Ranjin's sect, who had no opponents left, did not stay idle. After glancing at Yi Tianzong in amazement, they scattered in all directions to support the other warriors. After wiping out all the demons within a radius of several thousand miles, Yi Tianzong took a few steps and crossed the distance of over 10,000 miles, arriving at the other side of the vast battlefield. Repeating his previous actions, he constantly performed the sword sweeping all demons with the help of the boundless Howren's righteous energy. Every time he performed the sword sweeping all demons, the sword curtain that covered the sky, which was tens of miles in circumference, transformed into endless Howren's sword energy, posed a fatal threat to the demon experts in the abyss. Tens of thousands of saint and venerable demons were killed by Yi Tianzong's sword technique. Strolling leisurely across the vast battlefield, Yi Tianzong was like an invincible god of war. Wherever he passed, all the demon experts within his attack range were killed by the mighty torrent of sword energy. Of the 2.1 million saint and venerable demons, less than 400,000 managed to escape in the end, and were being hunted down by Wu Xing and Wu Zun of Hao Ranjin's sect. The dark clouds that shrouded the Hao Ranjin sect within a radius of 100,000 miles had mostly dissipated with the cleansing of the Howren Heavenly River and the defeat of the demons. The light of the setting sun could now continue to shine on the land within the Hao Ranjin sect. After eliminating the enemies in the sky battlefield, those demons who were lucky enough to escaped back to their underground strongholds. Yi Tianzong went to the two strongholds of the Abyss demons, and activated Howren's righteous energy to set up the Big Dipper formation, and sealed the exits of Howren's Big Dipper formation. After successfully sealing the exits of the two underground strongholds, Yi Tianzong, who consumed a lot of energy and mind, turned around and returned to Big Dipper Peak. When he passed by Howren City, he found that the battle in Howren City was coming to an end. Millions of warriors in Howren City were hunting down the demons who did not have time to evacuate. Seeing this, Yi Tianzong did not stop and returned directly to Big Dipper Peak. At this time, most of the tens of millions of demons at the level of King Wu and Marquis Wu outside Big Dipper Peak had disappeared without a trace. When Yi Tianzong killed those saint and venerable demons, the tens of millions of demons who were still attacking Big Dipper Peak had already realized that the situation was not good, and all of them began to retreat back to their strongholds. The remaining millions of demons who were still fighting were all trapped by the mountain guarding formation, or were randomly stopped by the experts of Hao Ranjin sect when they were retreating. Their retreat route was cut off, and they could only fight with the experts of Hao Ranjin sect. After the millions of human experts on Big Dipper Peak had bombarded the demons with explosive flame beads, they hid in the mountain guarding formation and did not come out. At first, the tens of millions of demons outside were still cautious and vigilant, in case they were attacked by the warriors of Hao Ranjin sect again. However, as they kept attacking the mountain guarding formation, the human warriors hiding in it did not come out. Gradually, the demons lowered their vigilance. In this way, the experts of the demon clan at the level of King Wu ordered the demons at the level of Marquis Wu to attack the mountain guarding formation at close range. When they saw a large number of demons approaching the mountain guarding formation, the higher-ups of Hao Ranjin sect on Big Dipper Peak ordered to fully activate the trapping, mazing, illusory, and killing formations in the mountain guarding formation. In a short time, the mountain guarding formation, which was originally only for defense, suddenly became violent. More than 1 million demons near the mountain guarding formation all fell into the range of the trapping, mazing, illusory, and killing formations. When the rest of the demons were still persevering in attacking the mountain guarding formation, Yi Tianzong appeared in the sky battlefield not far away like a savior. Seeing Yi Tianzong driving Howren righteousness to slaughter the experts of the demon clan, the tens of millions of demons who were crazily attacking the mountain guarding formation of Big Dipper Peak suddenly calmed down and stopped attacking. After quarreling for a while, tens of millions of demons decided to retreat back to their underground stronghold as soon as possible when Yi Tianzong had no time to pay attention to them. Of course, those people on Big Dipper Peak who had also noticed Yi Tianzong's dazzling appearance were not fools. They naturally understood that Yi Tianzong had finished off the powerful enemies and started to clean up the demons. This also meant that their side had already secured the victory of this battle. Therefore, when they noticed that the demons outside the mountain guarding formation wanted to retreat, over 3 million King Wu and Marquis Wu, who were originally hiding on Big Dipper Peak, all stepped out of the mountain guarding formation in an imposing manner and started to attack the demons outside the mountain guarding formation, directly delaying millions of demons. When those tens of millions of demons saw over 3 million human clan warriors stepping out of the mountain guarding formation in a hurry, they didn't pay much attention to them, because they knew that these human clan warriors couldn't be defeated in a short time, especially their armors, which were so strong that they couldn't break them at all. The majority of the devil race retreated in a hurry, and those who were stopped by the devil race, after realizing that they had no hope of escaping, also stimulated their innate ferocity, and began to fight to the death with the cultivators of the righteous faction. Yi Tianzong didn't care about these demons who would be defeated and killed sooner or later, leaving them to the experts of Hao Ranjin sect to deal with. Even though Yi Tianzong's strength was great, He had consumed a lot of energy and mind by activating the boundless righteous chi of Howren to fight and sealing the exit of the underground demon's lair. Both his spirit and body were exhausted and needed a rest very much. After returning to the Howren Palace, Yi Tianzong informed the guarding experts on the level of Wu Sheng before returning to his own residence. After that, he entered the Immortal Mansion to recover his energy. After resting in the Immortal Mansion for 8 hours, Yi Tianzong had recovered a part of his energy. However, he was worried about the situation of Ling Xinyue and his parents, so he couldn't wait to come out again before fully recovering. 8 hours in the Immortal Mansion was equivalent to 2 hours in the outside world. It was already nighttime. All the warriors of Hao Ranjin sect who had chased after the demons had returned to Howren City and Tiangang Peak. Those demons who didn't escape in time had been killed. Those who were lucky enough to escape were seriously injured and couldn't pose any threat. As soon as he came out of the Immortal Mansion, Yi Tianzong saw Ling Xinyue, who was sitting on the bed with her legs crossed to recover her qi circulation. Ling Xinyue was still wearing her snow-white armor, outlining her graceful figure. Ling Xinyue, who was already cold and beautiful, looked even more valiant. Sensing Yi Tianzong's aura, Ling Xinyue, who was recuperating with her eyes closed, instantly opened her eyes. She stared at Yi Tianzong with her clear eyes and asked softly in a hoarse voice, "How are you? Are you hurt?" Walking forward and sitting on the bed, Yi Tianzong reached out to hold Ling Xinyue in his arms. He gently sniffed her body fragrance and said tenderly, "I'm fine. But your voice is hoarse. You don't have to work so hard. You can leave the hunting of the demons to others. Judging from your unstable aura, you must have been targeted by the demons a lot." Ling Xinyue enjoyed Yi Tianzong's embrace like a little kitten, but she said firmly, "It's okay. This is what I should do. I don't want to be too far away from you." Although he knew what she meant, Yi Tianzong still patted Ling Xinyue's perky but lovingly and said with some amusement, "Little girl, what are you talking about? How can we be too far away? You will become more and more outstanding in the future, and I will never leave you. Don't say such silly things in the future. Come with me to see father, mother, and grandfather." Yi Tianzong held Ling Xinyue's lily-white hand and walked towards where Yi Haoren and the others were. Fortunately, Yi Tianzong had used his ultimate move early on to deal with the powerful demon race's attack. Then, he joined the battle with an absolutely powerful attitude and strength. Therefore, the experts from the Hao Ranjin sect, Lingyun Hall, Kunlun sect, and the 10 Holy Lands did not suffer too much damage. Moreover, because the defensive formations on Howren City and Tiangang Peak blocked the invasion of the demon race, the warriors below Wu Zun's realm did not suffer too much damage. On the contrary, because of the large-scale use of the Fiery Pearl and the Exploding Flame Pearl, they killed a total of more than 40 million demons.